Hello, wonderful people of the internet. Welcome back to kind of the first episode of Leios Labs. Technically, I did have another one, I don't know, what was it, like a few days ago, a few weeks ago, something like that. But it doesn't really count so much because, first of all, we didn't really do very much. And second of all, I think I accidentally leaked my password or something dumb like that in that particular stream, so I wasn't able to upload it to YouTube or anything. So this will be the first video that is going to be uploaded to the second, Simuleos/Leios Labs channel on YouTube. Fortuitous Lover, hey, thanks for coming in. And anyone else who might be lurking in chat, hey, thanks for being here. So, right, let's go ahead and get started with just a little bit of talk about where we are, what we're going to do, what the plan is actually for this stream going forward, all this kind of stuff. So Zernal PP, and let's just go. All right, move this over here. So, like many of you guys know, I have recently, as in just this past week, moved into my new apartment in Barcelona. Now, the new apartment's kind of in a weird spot. There's actually a, I don't know how to draw this, but I'll do my best. There is a, square, where a whole bunch of people walk and talk and all that kind of stuff right here. Then there's a restaurant that kind of comes out this direction here-ish, something like that. And my apartment is around this area over here. So I guess I'll color my apartment in green or something. So the issue is that along this road, which I'm going to do in, pink or something, along this road, it's relatively quiet. In this area in here, it's kind of loud sometimes. There are definitely people outside my window right now talking, but it's not loud enough that I think it's going to bother anybody. So I'm going to try to do my stream on this side of the apartment. But hopefully we can, have a relatively quiet stream even so. The way this is set up is it's like a 2-story apartment, so we have a downstairs and an upstairs, and I'm kind of in the downstairs, and I really don't know. We're just going to try and see how this stream goes. Freeman7, I hope we will use some Julia today. In fact, I'm hoping that a lot of the stream does a lot of Julia moving forward, but we're going to see. We're just going to kind of go at things as fast as I can from now on. But my point is that there is a lot of noise generated from this little restaurant area. The thing is, it's owned by the city of Barcelona, so it's only open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So sleeping is totally fine. It's just during stream times, which I'm hoping to be maybe somewhere in between noon and 8 o'clock p.m. my time, which is going to be kind of super early morning or kind of mid morning for people in the U.S. Something like this. So the goal is to kind of hit the late afternoon European block and then hit the relatively early morning US block. Now look, I could stream after 8 p.m. if I wanted to, but the truth is that look, I usually work early, not late, so 8 p.m. is actually super late for me. I need to kind of adjust to that schedule, so I'm going to try to do all other work before noon. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out the schedule right now is what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's go and close this now. I don't know if we should talk so much about it, but the move to Barcelona was tough. It wasn't easy to do. Have you stopped working on Klima then, or do they do remote work? I have not been working on Klima in 2021, so I stopped working on Klima 10 months ago or something like that. I can talk more about that now if you want. In fact, maybe this is a good time to go ahead and do that. So what has been happening since, I don't know, 2018, essentially. It's been a long time. We can go ahead and talk about that right now, just because I think it's a good time just to kind of free the air, talk about everything, and then not talk about ever again. So first of all, I finished my PhD in 2019, right? Most people, oh my gosh, not that year, 2019. Which means essentially the last time that Simuleos, Leios OS, whatever, was big was in 2018, right? So this was 3 years ago when my channel was really taking off and it was really doing well. Since then, I've just been on a steady decline. And that's because in 2018, I started working on my PhD thesis, right? Which basically meant that in 2019, I wasn't able to publish a single YouTube video, which meant YouTube kind of died. Twitch was still kind of alive, but nowhere near as big as it was in 2018. In 2020, of course, I worked primarily with MIT. I guess YouTube died, whatever. And look, it was just stressful. I went from Boston to Alabama, back up to Boston. The whole time I wasn't able to do any like relevant live streams. It was just tough because MIT was taking like 80 hours a week, and it was next to impossible to get any actual work done. So what's been going on in 2021? Well, this year, what ended up happening in January is I quit working for MIT. Now, look, we can talk about why that was the case, and I might do that in a bit, but for the most part this year I've been spending working with 3 Blue 1 Brown. We've done a number of different initiatives, like for example, the Summer of Math Exposition, but for the most part, if I'm being totally and completely honest, the thing that's been keeping me away from content creation is just life. I've been busy, doing a bunch of different things. I got married by mail in order to go over to Japan, so that we can move to Barcelona. There were all this, like every day I was spending like 6 hours a day just doing visa paperwork. It was just insane. So not only working with 3 Blue 1 Brown, but also just sorting out my life was taking up my entire, that was all I had time for. So now I'm finally in Barcelona. On October 8th, which is Friday, we're going to be doing a debriefing session for the Summer of Math Exposition, and that is genuinely the last thing I'm going to be doing for 3 Blue 1 Brown this month. So I'm going to have 3 weeks after that's done to focus entirely on Leios Labs and really get that settled. And so for the next 3 weeks, you can expect a lot of just weird stuff, like not weird, but like just really trying to get back to it, like really trying to make things again, and that's going to be the goal. Now, some of you guys might have noticed the name change to Leios Labs. This is kind of for a number of different reasons. We talked about it last stream, but again, that stream's not going to be on YouTube, so it's good to put it here as well. For a while, my YouTube channel was Leios OS, I guess OS. Let me do it differently. Let me put this in red or something. So YouTube was Leios OS, and Twitch was Simuleios. Right, so there was Leios here, and then Leios here. I didn't have them under the same name because, well, you kind of wanted like Leios OS as the primary channel, and then Simuleios as the stream in which we did all the simulations for Leios OS. I don't know, that's kind of the way I had it done. Now, what most people didn't understand is what the OS stood for. In my mind, the OS was kind of a way for me to acknowledge that I'm very much an open source person and that everything that I want to do should be open source. So the OS was Leios open source. And the fact that it was kind of like Leios operating system was kind of a play on the fact that there's a whole bunch of Linux distributions that kind of have like, well, maybe not Linux distributions, but like this React OS and all of these like, free open source operating systems. And I wanted to talk about a lot of this stuff. I wanted to talk about Linux. I wanted to talk about, a lot of this tech stuff that other people weren't talking about. But I never did that in the end. In the end, my videos ended up becoming more like math focused and stuff like that. And Simuleios didn't really make very much sense because no one knew how to pronounce it. They were like, a lot of people were calling me Sim. A lot of people were saying Simule iOS. It just wasn't very clear. Now it's probably still not clear with Leios OS, but it's a bit more clear. So what's the goal from now on? Well, the goal is I actually have started in the state of Alabama a new LLC, a new limited liability corporation, which I will be using to do a lot of open source research in the future. And I really want that open source research to be the highlight of both my YouTube channel and Twitch stream. We've talked a lot about this in the past. I have no idea how I'm going to get this done. It could mean a series of short YouTube videos. It could mean a series of long live streams that lead into very big YouTube videos. I don't know. That's kind of the goal of this month, to figure out what kind of content I can create here. And so, yeah, that's kind of what's been happening since 2018. I got my PhD, I worked at MIT for a year, I let YouTube die, and now I'm kind of working with 3 Blue 1 Brown. But my real passion, and the passion that I found this year, definitely while working with Grant on 3 Blue 1 Brown, is towards research. And that's what I really want to focus on in the near future. And that's why Leios Labs is the name of this stream. By the way, someone clip this? You can clip it if you want. I don't know if you can put all of that into a clip. Hola, chico, ¿qué pasa? T.S. Joss. My Spanish is about as good as my Japanese, which is to say, very, very bad. When people come in, I'm like, lo siento, no hablo español. And then, I'm like, hablas inglés? And they're like, no. And then I'm like, Jane, which is Japanese. Like, for some reason, like, my mind is predominantly in English, right? So when I'm trying to speak, I speak in English. But the problem is that when I think of a second language, the second language that comes up is Japanese. So when I'm trying to ask, like, where's the bathroom? It's like, ¿Dónde está? El baño, or whatever. But for some reason, everything has a Japanese accent. So, like, people will be speaking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, oh, so, hi. It's like, why? I don't know. Español es imposible para Leios. Sí. As you can see from my horrible pronunciations here. How is your Catalan? My Catalan is non-existent. Okay, so let me go ahead and go here, remove this for now. Do you guys want to hear the story of how I got scammed? Just as the start of the stream, So I don't have too many good stories about moving into Barcelona. I mean, there were a few, but for the most part, it's just been walking around Barcelona carrying like really heavy stuff. Yeah, the Locksmith scam. I want to talk to you guys about this because I'm still not entirely convinced I was scammed, but I'm kind of convinced I was scammed. So, okay, for those of you guys who are in the US, I don't think there's too many people, or maybe in Japan or something like that. This is something I didn't know about till I moved here. Watch out for pickpockets; they're everywhere. Yeah. I'm getting to that actually. So here's the thing. My wife is a Japanese citizen. She came to Barcelona once in her life, and in that time she had her credit card stolen. So we are very cautious about that kind of stuff. Like, again, I don't use backpacks, with the exception of a like when I'm getting groceries and stuff like that. That's the only. I mean, there's no other way. You have to have a backpack or something. But yeah, I don't go out with a backpack. And she has like this pouch that she wears. She predominantly doesn't use a backpack. And like we're very cautious about that kind of stuff. Now, I want to talk to you about something that happened the day we moved into our apartment. It was absolutely crazy, and I'm just gonna call it the Locksmith Scam ? And let me just do Control A and turn it blue. White. Let's go white. Perfect. Okay. So, if you're from the US like me, you're probably not accustomed to European style locks, right? I'm not. And in Japan, we also had more of a US style lock, so I wasn't very familiar with this type of lock. But essentially, there's a lock cylinder. Let me draw it this way first. So here's like the little keyhole, right, for your lock. So you have your little key here, and you put it in and you turn the key, right? That's how locks work, right? I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with this. Now, there's something weird about how the locks work here in Spain that I'd never encountered before. Basically, when you turn the lock once, you get the little bolt to come out. But you can also turn it again to get the bolt to turn out twice, right? That's fine. It's a double lock, super secure, happy with that. Now, here's the part I didn't know. So I'm going to look at the door from the side here. So here's like the doorknob, right? Doorknob, and here's the other doorknob. So here, oh, that's not a doorknob. Let's try that again. Here's the other doorknob. And there's like a lock cylinder here. So that's where you put the key in, right? I'm just going to draw it like this so everyone can see. What I didn't know is if there's a lock on this side of the door, you can't turn this key. I think this is called like lock panic or something. So what we did in a really stupid way, because we had absolutely no idea what we were doing, is we put a lock on this side, and then we shut the door, thinking, oh, it's fine, we'll just keep a lock on that side, and we locked ourselves out of the apartment. The very first day, like we had just gotten the keys, and like the first day, the first thing we do is lock ourselves out of the apartment. Obviously, the landlord couldn't do anything, and so we ended up having to call a locksmith, right? So here's where things get kind of a bit crazy, and maybe a bit. I don't know if we got scammed or not, but I'm pretty sure we got scammed. So what happened was we called a locksmith, right? So what the locksmith did is they, here's the door, here's a little peephole for the door, here's the lock, and here's the handle for it. We left the key in the lock. So, okay, so for those of you guys who might think that this is a dumb idea, for the record, we had 4 keys, right? So we had 3 keys. Well, okay. I had a key on this side. My wife had a key on this side. but we left a key on this lock and had one key just kind of sitting over here. And the reason we did that is because, so we left one on one side of the door, and then we left. And the reason we did that is because in pretty much every other like place that we've lived, you have a lock. Like you don't have to lock it from the other side. Like you can just flip a switch, And so we were going to try to simulate that, by making it so, if you have a lock on the other side, you don't have to think about it. You can just unlock the door, walk in, and then you shut the door. It was like a convenience thing is what we were thinking. Now, look, again, we had no idea it was going to lock ourselves out. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it. Like, it's just we'd never seen this type of lock before, right? So what the locksmith did is he actually took out the peephole here, which is the thing that allows you to look on the other side, and reached in and pulled the lock off. I'm not doing a good job of describing this. Let me draw a bigger door. Actually, let me just do it here. So here's the key that we had in here. Let me try it this way. Oh, okay. Oh no, that didn't work. Okay, try it again. So here's the door. Here's the keyhole. And here's the little peephole that you look in with your eyeball. So here's your eyeball. Oh, let's try that one again. Here, and then so that's that. I think I always kept a key in the lock on the inside of my door in Barcelona. I didn't have any issues. Okay, well, maybe it's just an old lock. I don't know. So what he did is he took the peephole off the door. So he removed this. And then he had this long, like, little metal contraption that he pulled in. And he basically, knocked this key off the door, right? So that's what he did. So we saw him break into our apartment, right? And he said this is going to cost us some amount of euro that was kind of absurdly high to do this because he had to do it in a rush, all that kind of stuff. And, we're understanding of this. Now, here's the part where we screwed up. After this was done, he said, hey, I can sell you a new lock cylinder, right? Which is basically new lock to the door. And I was like, okay, yeah, new lock cylinder sounds great from a locksmith in Barcelona. Okay, sounds good. Because all things considered, we were so cautious about security. We knew that potentially someone could have the key. We were pretty sure that our landlord had switched the keys, but maybe they didn't. And so we were like, yeah, it's probably a good idea to change locks anyway. So we decided we would also buy a lock cylinder from this locksmith. And so he went and replaced the lock cylinder in the door. Then I started getting some weird second thoughts about this. So, of course, we paid him for the new lock, and we definitely overpaid him. But we did it anyway because we were like, we're going to have to buy a lock cylinder anyway. Might as well just pay him for his time, all this kind of stuff. Okay, so we have this new lock cylinder in our door. It's made by this company. I think it's Multi-Lock, right? And they only sell a particular type of key that is behind patent. Idiot tax, not like this. Yeah. No, we were definitely dumb here. Like, we were definitely should not have done this. So they only give us a particular key that's under patent protection or something. Essentially, essentially, the only way for you to replicate one of the keys that you've been given is if you get a particular key card that, you go and you bring it to, the key generator or whatever, and you give them the card. Without that card, they're not able to create the key, right? So this is just a way to prevent the lock from being duplicated, right? Or prevent the keys from being duplicated. And on all of the keys we were given, it had the phrase, do not duplicate, right? We were not given the key card to duplicate the lock, right? So because we weren't given that key card, I kind of started getting a bit sketched out. I also looked at the keys, and they looked kind of heavily worn. Now, here's the thing. The guy who sold us the lock said that they were heavily worn because, he was riding around on a motorcycle, and they were jostling around in the back of his motorcycle, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's a fair, maybe, justification for that. And then, I asked him about the lock duplication, and he said, that's only for the really premium high-end security locks. He gave us a medium security lock, which again might have been a fair argument. But then I decided, okay, I'm going to look up their company a bit because I started getting really sketched out. And I looked up their company and I realized me, being the idiot that I was, and as frantic as I was, I clicked on the very first link that appeared in Google, which was a sponsored ad slot, which means that they just paid to be up there, and I couldn't find the company name anywhere. On top of that, the person who sold us a lock really asked us to do it under the table so that we didn't have to pay European tax. He was like, this is for your benefit, so you don't have to pay European tax. And I'm like, I don't want that. I definitely want a receipt from this interaction, you know? And so basically, all of this stuff was super sketchy, like super, super sketchy. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm pretty sure we got scammed, like pretty hardcore. So after we went around, picked up some stuff for the apartment, we came back and I immediately changed the lock back to what it was, the lock that the landlord gave us. Yeah. So just for the record, it's even worse than this because like, the guy didn't give us like the box to the set of keys. And he said, it comes with 5 keys, and he gave us 5 keys. But like, you know, I'm pretty sure he could have just kept a key. You know, like there's all these things, like super dumb. Like I know I was super dumb. So right now, for the record, in order to get into our apartment, there's not only the door that's like connected to the hallway. Or like there's a street. You actually have to enter the complex, and then you have to enter my door. So like you'd have to have the key to get into the complex first. But you know, if people are walking in and out, you could probably find a way in, right? Yeah. So that's the thing. Like because he didn't give us a box, and because you know the keys looked heavily used, they said do not duplicate on them. I was super sketched out. I was like, all right, we're just going to go back to the other lock. Now, here's where things get super scary. This is like the scariest thing that I think has ever happened in my life. Like, I cannot think of a single situation that I was more terrified than this. At 2 o'clock a.m. that evening, 2 o'clock a.m., I hear my upstairs neighbor kind of enter the hallway, right? So, fine, it's my upstairs neighbor. But then I hear him go upstairs, and then I hear another sound that was not my upstairs neighbor at all. It was someone else who was in that hallway. And I hear, you know, from my room, someone making this weird metal clinking sound that really sounded like they were trying to put a key into my door. After like some fiddling, like it was like maybe 30 seconds of fiddling. Like I heard like, you know, like a bunch of metal on metal. I then heard the word, fuck. And then I heard the door to the apartment complex open and the guy leave. So, pretty dang sure the guy who was trying to sell us a lock tried to come back, and I'm pretty sure the scam, was that this guy sells us a lock and key, then comes back to retrieve the lock and key that night, and also just like takes whatever's around, you know? So no, I didn't call the locksmith at that point. It was 2 o'clock a.m. and I was petrified. I was terrified. Now look, okay, this could have all been like in my mind, right? Because it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and like, you know, it was the first night we were in the new apartment, so I might have been making it all up. But man, I was terrified. Just absolutely terrified. I had a nightmare about it the next night. It was pretty bad. Why didn't he just remove the eyepiece thing? So yeah, so the way that he broke in last time, the only reason he was able to break in last time was because we had a key in the other side, right? So by removing that key, you could then enter the apartment. But he would have to like, you know, get a key in. It just wouldn't be easy for him to do. But yeah, anyway, wouldn't have gotten, removing the eyepiece thing wouldn't have got a key through it if it was still on the other side. Right. Yeah, so because there wasn't a key on the other side this time, you know. Slide paper under the door and let the key drop on that. Well, right, but we're past the key on the other side. This is like later that night, before I understood any of this type of stuff. Anyway, the point of that story is... yeah, that was probably the scariest experience I've had in a very long time. Let me go ahead and catch up on chat. I need to get a PhD, not getting scammed. Definitely. I'd buy a lock from a locksmith I wouldn't buy a lock from a locksmith at my premise. Right. Again, that was our bad. We shouldn't have done that. Just in case they had the key, had a key back at their base. Right. Now they know where I live. Exactly. That's what I was terrified of. Do not duplicate is an honor system. That's fair as well. If it's an honor system, it's something that I don't know about. Crazy unsettling. Removing the eyepiece slide the paper under the door. If there's a gap under the door, he could have pushed newspaper under it, poked through the eyepiece thing, and drop the key onto the newspaper and pull it out. Right, there wasn't actually a big enough gap under the door to do that. But also, like, again, he can't do that right now because the keys are... That's something to check, because we did actually just hang up the keys, and they are hanging up next to the door, and it is kind of close enough that you might be able... I'll check that after stream. But, you know, like, we'll figure it out. Unless it's a bunch of keys, it wouldn't fit under the door. Oh, actually, yeah, it is a bunch of keys, which doesn't fit. Yeah. Welcome to the developing parts of Europe. Yeah, so anyway, I was terrified. Like, absolutely terrified. Do not duplicate. You think a dodgy locksmith or someone with access to a duplicate system is not going to copy that? Right. But the point is that, you know, my wife and I were just super naive. It was something that, like, you know, we definitely, you know, should have known better. So then the next day, or like Monday, whenever the hardware store was open, we actually went to go buy a new a lock cylinder to replace the lock with. So now we have 3 lock cylinders. But the one we bought, actually, we were given with like this, you know, security lock on it so that you can't leave. But somehow we left anyway. So we had our lock. So, okay, I'm not explaining this very well. So here is the lock that we bought, the new cylinder. So here's like the package to the new cylinder. So here's the cylinder in here. Here's like the keys up here, whatever. And they attached like this little security lock here that, you know, beeps red. So when you leave, you know, it's supposed to make like the alarms go off or whatever. But they didn't remove this. So we actually had to go back to the hardware store to have this removed. And then when we went back home, we found out that the cylinder was actually too big to fit in the door. So we still need a new cylinder for the door. But I feel comfortable with the cylinder we have because that was actually given to us by our landlord instead of given to us by some sketchy guy who just gave it to us on the day. I don't know. Like, it's... Anyway, we're going to get a new lock cylinder. But it's been a mess. Doors in Europe are usually fire doors. You can't get a key through that. Not in Barcelona. Very common. My message got blocked by Automod. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can unblock it. I don't see it over here. Oh. Wait, allow. Okay, I think it's now... sorry, I didn't realize it was blocked by Automod. Could you get a lock cylinder that can only be locked by turning a key? Yeah, that's how most of these cylinders work. And yeah, we bought a good one. It was just too big. I won't have a Yale lock on my front door anymore. Only a mortise lock. I don't actually know the difference between those. Even a rental. Let's see. I won't have... it's a way of landlords to have keys that they can control the distribution of and are relying on the honesty of the locksmiths not to copy them. Our alley gates put up by the council have that on it. Oh yeah, that's fair as well. Anyway, so that's my story of moving into my apartment. I've got a few more stories of, like, you know, carrying heavy things around Barcelona. Like, we've walked for like 5 hours a day for like every day for the past week just to kind of like get everything for the apartment and all that kind of stuff. There's apparently construction happening outside of my door. But hey, like, all things considered, it could have been a lot worse. And like, it was just one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. I thought I'd tell everyone here. Yale lock has that triangular piece that allows the door frame to push it into the lock to spring back out to lock the door. Oh, okay. Twitch's data and source code got leaked. Change your password. Oh. But even if the data and source code was leaked, that shouldn't leak the passwords as well, unless they're really bad at programming. Let's see. A mortise lock is usually just a bar that you have to turn and the key once the door is locked. Okay. For instance, say I go outside and put something in the bin and the door below is closed. A yellow lock would lock me out. Right. That's kind of the one... Well, ours will lock us out, but it's not that type of lock. Which area are you in, if you want to say? I don't want to say on stream, but we're in a kind of nicer part of Barcelona. Hashes were leaked. Oh. The encrypted passwords were leaked. I mean hashes. Okay, well, that's disconcerting. I don't know what we should do about it, but it is a bit disconcerting. Even payouts to each streamer? Okay, fine. Fair enough. I'll change my password. I can't do it right now while I'm streaming, but it's something that I should definitely do. Thanks so much for bringing that to my attention. I mean, maybe I could do it on stream. No, I'm not going to do it on stream. That's stupid. What was I thinking? Okay, good. We're getting there one step at a time. I'm going to be right back, guys. Give me 2 minutes. I have to run upstairs. There was a knock at the door. And then I'll be right... Yeah, so give me just a second. Sorry about that. I don't know if this is a landlord or not. I hope it's not. We'll see. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Which keybind is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, be right back. Okay, it was just a package, so it wasn't anything major. 1 second. Okay, what do we have here? Horizontal, there it is. I missed something. Looks for a square with a council-owned run restaurant near. You could technically find my apartment that way. Look, it's not a super well-known square, so like it would be hard to do because there's a bunch of squares around the area. But okay, fine. If you really want to find my apartment, yeah, just stomp around a bunch of squares in Barcelona. Go ahead, try to find it. Twitch didn't work for me a bit after changing my password, so doing it on stream probably would not be a good idea. That's fair. Just cause partial power outages in Barcelona to narrow down the district. Just cause partial power outages in Barcelona to narrow down the district. Do you have the 4chan thread? Guys, I got scammed. Also, Leios, let me change my password on stream. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I could do a bit better at being, I don't know, like less prone to being scammed. I don't know. Look, I'm terrified of that kind of stuff happening in Barcelona, right? Like we're being super cautious about stuff while we're here. And yeah, we'll see how it is. Actually, I'm gonna run upstairs really quick. 1 second. I'm so sorry. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm so sorry. My chair hit my. Yeah. Anyway, all this talk of being scammed genuinely made me worried that I'd lost my wallet. I did not lose my wallet. It was exactly where I thought it was going to be, but I was terrified. Yeah. So this apartment's quite big. It's 2-bedroom, and then there's this little basement area as well. So yeah. Okay. So now we can officially start stream after talking about being scammed twice. The only other weird thing about this apartment, well, there's a few weird things. The only other weird thing about the apartment was that we don't have like a lock. Like the bathroom door doesn't have a handle. Like the door doesn't shut to the bathroom. So what we did is we got this little like, you know how like if here's a wall, you get like a hook that connects to the wall. So here's the door. It's a sliding door that slides this way. And here's the wall. And we have like a hook here and a hook here. And we have like a bungee cord that connects them. But like there's nothing else that's weird about the apartment that I know of. Like maybe in a bit we'll find some more stuff. But so far it's been pretty good. Okay, so let us Let us go ahead and get started with today's stream. So there's a couple things that I want to there are a couple things I want to do. The first thing I want to do is go through Algorithm Archive pull requests, because I missed a bunch of them. We're just going to hit any that we can. I know there's at least a few that we can do reviews on, and we're going to tackle that. After that's done, I then want to start doing Leios Lab stuff, which is to say that I want to start doing some sort of research here on stream, probably working with the... what do I want to work on first? Probably working with the... abstract syntax tree solvers and stuff like that. So probably working on that, but let's do the algorithm archive first. So here I'm going to go to github.com and let's just see what we can find. Algorithm archive, go to pull requests. Right, so I definitely saw the approximate counting implementation in Python, which I saw that we could probably do. I think the rest of these we kind of already looked at and there wasn't much for us to do. Let me see what happened here. And let's see what else is available. Yeah, so the only other one that we haven't checked is this one. What do we have here? The code looks good to me and it produces the correct output. Anyone wants to test the cells, change the text variable with something like AAA and compile it with GCC. Okay, let me go ahead and do this and then we can get this guy merged in. So let us grab that and see what we can do. CD projects, algorithm archive, CD projects, algorithm archive. Oh yeah, also guys, I do intend to be doing like longer streams here on Twitch, just in the future. And the reason I want to do that is because I kind of want like my entire workday to be here on Twitch, to the best of my abilities. You know, like maybe I won't be able to do like an 8-hour stream every day or something like that, but I want to do like longer streams and get as much of that workday in as I can. So probably I'll be adding in like the 5-minute exercises at the top of every hour and stuff like this into the stream again as we go along further. And just stuff like that, just to kind of like, you know, make it an official workday type of thing. I don't have the workout stuff set up right now, so I can't do it now, but in the future, you can expect that stuff to come back. I don't know if it's just me, but yeah, Coconut Barnsley Fern isn't loading. Let's take a look at that in just a second. So we're going to do, wait, you said Coconut Barnsley Fern. Oh, this is probably already on the algorithm archive here. So if we go down to Barnsley Fern here, there should be Coconut, and you're saying it's not loading. So let's go ahead and look at Julia, and then we'll see if the Coconut version loads as well. Okay. Oh, so it's just in the example code? Oh, you're right, it's not loading. That is because they probably used a full path instead of a... Okay, let's fix that first, then we'll go on to the next thing. So we're going to do git branch, git checkout, master, git pull upstream, not upstream, upstream master. Oh, I see the problem. Okay, good. So now we're going to do cd. Thanks, Gibbons. Projects, algorithm archive, contents, Barnsley Fern. Alice here. Let's go into vi barnsley.md and let's go down to Coco here, and we're just going to modify this to be, I think, Coconut. ls code. Sure. Okay. So npm run serve. All right, we'll go ahead and get this guy just as a quick pull request. And I think that's all I have to do. So let's just do git add. I feel like I should push directly to master in this case. It's such a small fix. How mad would people be if I pushed directly to master? Do you think people would be pissed off? Let's just double check to make sure it's working. Local host 4000. Barnsley Fern. Go over. Why am I in dark mode? Just sepia mode is obviously the way to go. Coconut. Scroll down to the bottom. 1 second. Okay, it seems to be working fine. I'm just gonna push directly to master. No, fine, I'll create a PR. You guys have convinced me. All right, fair enough. Yeah, all right. So let's go here to barnsley.md, git commit -m, git checkout -b, Coconut Barnsley fix. All right, get push origin coconut Barnsley fix. Okay, good to go. All right, and now let's go ahead and create a pull request. I don't know why I'm creating an additional pull request. Like it's super simple, but at the same time, I was like, maybe algorithm archive here, pull requests, I guess. New pull request. We want to compare across forks. Head repository is Leios. Sure, perfect. And then we want to go to the, what was it, coconut? Barnsley fix. Am I an idiot? I'm an idiot. Okay, git status, git add, wait, what? Git commit. I added it, and then I did git commit. No, I didn't. Changing Barnsley.md to read the correct coconut file. All right, git push origin. There we go. And should be good to go. All right, let me just refresh this page. And hopefully we see something. Yep, perfect. Should just be a one-line change. I'm just going to create the pull request and create pull request. And then I might just automatically merge it. I mean, I know this is stupid. I really should have just pushed directly to master, but I didn't want to get, I don't know. I was afraid people would be upset about that. I don't know. Like, who cares? But I care a little bit. Okay. The next thing I wanted to do was check out the, oh no, I lost it. Can I just go to history? Wait, where was the, which one was it? It was x86. I think it was this one, right? Good. Okay, this is the one. Perfect. Okay. Let's just go ahead and do a quick command line instructions here. Git checkout. Over here. Git checkout master. And then do this. Bam. And then hopefully we're good to go. Hopefully it just builds. npm run serve. And then we have to make it run really quick. So cd projects, algorithm archive, contents, Huffman encoding, ls here, cd code x. What's it under? Oh, ASM. There we go. Okay, so we have the local host here. I'll double check that all the line numbers are correct in just a second. The next thing I need to do is run the command. Yep, just run the command over here. Should be, I want to change text to, yeah, something. I think I wanted to change it to bibbidi bobbidi. So let's do ls here, vi Huffman dot s text. Oh, no, this is fine. Perfect. Then we just have to run the code. So we have the compilation instructions here. Thank you, Storm of Ice. Perfect. Thanks, Anonymous Cheer. Appreciate the bit. And now let's do ls here, /a out. Sure. Cool. Yeah, looks fine to me. Look, the output isn't exactly identical to the other outputs, but fine. Okay, let's take a look at the local host. Over here, we're going to go to local host 4000, and we want to go down to Huffman encoding, which is right, where is it? Huffman encoding should be here. Change this to ASM, there. And I think really there's just one big code block at the bottom. Okay, so I will say, okay, let me change it to white mode. There is a bit of a problem with this in that the code block is actually too big for... That's a bit too big. I don't know how to fix that. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I think... Okay. Do you get the habit of talking when you program off stream as well? That seems like it might help you to focus better, but it could also annoy other people. Actually, I don't. No, I don't actually. It's actually easier for me to code when I'm not talking. It's just that when you're streaming, right? Like, not saying anything is a bit. It's fine. It's just a bit weird, Like it's like, here I am just typing and staring at a screen. I do think it's one of the reasons why like programming streams are so difficult to do correctly, and why it's one of those mediums or types of content that's not just going to pop off on Twitch. Because like the first reason is that like there isn't that much visual going on screen. Like it's not like video games or something like that. But the second reason is that when you're programming, you're automatically like doing some sort of text input, some sort of like linguistic input, right? Which is a text that you're writing to screen. So it's hard to have like some sort of discussion with people in chat while it's also typing something here. So like, for example, if I want to type something here, I might say like, there's only one problem I have with this PR, right? I might say that, right? But it's almost impossible for me to type that phrase while also saying something else. Like, I see, this is really hard. I have to think of two things at once. The other day, I trained this a lot. 1 second. I actually did a few years ago. I was able to do it, but I can't do it anymore. You like process two linguistic inputs at the same time. I used to be able to do it, so I could actually code on stream while also talking about something completely different. 1 second. So the other day, oh my gosh, I can't do it. So what I was thinking was, I can't do it anymore. Can't do it at all, especially when English isn't your first language and all your brain processing goes towards figuring out the correct pronunciation. Luckily, I don't have that issue, but my pronunciation is all over the place. So, it is what it is. Hey, Martin, how are you? But I swear, there was a time a while ago when I could actually type something different than what I was saying. It's just I've lost that skill entirely. It's something that I used to be really good at. So, great. I am happy to merge this PR. Then I will say that the comments... Oh no. To the code... are slightly too long. Do not render correctly in the algorithm archive. And let me just add an image to show what I'm talking about here. So let's just grab this, I guess. Well, let's get a better example here. Print screen there. Something like that's fine. And let's just add that image in. Where are we here? How do we add images in? I know there's a way to do it, isn't it? Oh, I forgot how to do anything. Oh, just attach files by... There we go, perfect. This one probably, open, I hope. I don't know. I don't know what this... Okay. What was that screenshot that I just added in? Has to be the right screenshot, right? It's gonna be super embarrassing if it's not the right screenshot. All right, let me just make sure. It's from 2021 at 10/6/13/51. It has to be the right screenshot. All right, let's just go ahead and hope it's the right screenshot. Comment. Comment. Oh, good. Whew. Okay, great. Happy to merge that PR. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, let's make sure the other PR built. And then we'll go ahead and merge that one in because it's just a one-line change. Should be pretty easy. Thanks. All the checks were successful. Let's show the checks just to make sure. The build, sure. So I'm going to go ahead and squash and merge using my administrative privileges. Squash and merge. Woo, we got a PR in. All right. Let me go ahead and check the Python PR really quick, since we had it up. Approximate counting implementation in Python. And let's see what we got here. Files changed. Here it seems the percent error is 10 times higher when we count 10,000 times. However, sure, fair enough. Sure, also fair enough. Removed line spacings. Yeah, all that's fine. I have a lot of Linux environments. I've seen them have trouble with thumbnails. A lot of Linux environments I've seen seem to have trouble with thumbnails. I wonder if that's a Linux thing or a GitHub thing, though. Also, I'm using... It's not so much that it has trouble with thumbnails. I use PCman FM as my primary, like, browser thing that I use, which isn't necessarily, like... What does this open up on GitHub, actually? Here? Yeah, what is this? What is this? Oh, it's Qt browser. Ah, okay, it's the browser that's the issue. Okay, so like if I was using another browser like Firefox, I'm sure this would work fine. So let's just go to Firefox, paste, enter, There we go. Go down here. See what happens. Oh, hello, recent? Yeah, okay, so the screenshots are definitely there now. Oh, I'm an idiot. Just close that. Okay, so what are we doing next? Huffman encoding. No. Barnsley done. No. Approximate counting. That's what I wanted. I have a question, and I don't have an answer to that question right now. Let me go to the algorithm archive, and let me take a look at the approximate counting algorithm, which should be down here. Perfect. I think it's just one large code block at the bottom. Yeah, that's what it is. One large code block at the bottom. Oh, man. If it runs, I'm happy with it. It looks pretty clean. I'm relatively happy with it. Yeah, so let's just check to make sure it runs, and then I think I'm happy to merge it. Firefox. Yeah, I do actually really like Firefox for what it's worth. I used to use Firefox exclusively. Okay, so I went from Chromium. Okay, look, I used to use LuaKit. Was the browser I used to use. Good old, does anyone even know LuaKit? Anybody? I'm sure no one, maybe people know it. LuaKit. This was the browser I used to use, and I used to love it. It was just a very simple browser written in Julia with Vim key bindings. Big fan of it. So I used LuaKit for years, and I just, something happened that made me quit. I don't remember what it was. It might have been something stupid like advertising on Twitch or something like that. Oh, no. It just wouldn't work on Twitch was a problem. And so when it didn't work on Twitch, I switched to Firefox because at least Firefox would work on Twitch. And then something happened with Firefox where it wasn't blocking ads or something. I don't remember. So then I switched to Chromium. Then I switched back to Firefox. And now I'm on a Vim-based browser again, which is Qt browser. So the thing about Qt browser is that I've gotten so used to the keybinds now that when I go to another browser, I find myself genuinely wanting to go back to this one. It's like when you switch from Vim to any other text editor, you find yourself genuinely wanting to go back to Vim just because there's all these little quick, keybinds that you use all the time in Vim that you just get used to, right? And so when other text editors don't have those keybinds, you just feel, I don't know, it feels like inefficient, And that's how I feel about, internet browsing now. I'm not saying this was a good idea. I know I'm like very solidly in the Vim cult, but it's nice and I like it. So the only problem I have with Qt browser right now, hey, happy little rap. I feel like I haven't seen you on stream in 2 years. How have you been? I hope everything is going super well. But yeah, so as far as Qt browser is concerned, yes, I know I'm in a cult. I get that. The only problem I have with it is that like when I click here, I can't actually type anything until I press I to enter insert mode. So if you have a lot of like little, like you have to enter your credit card information or something like that, you've got to click and press I multiple times. It's kind of a pain, but it is what it is. Let's take a look at the approximate counting over here. I think I switched over to let me check really sure. Git checkout, master, git poll, origin, upstream, master, and see what we have. Okay. Yep, one line change seems fine. And now let's go ahead and pull these changes in. Yep, so let's go ahead and check them out really quick. Up here to the top, conversation, go down here. Okay, so it looks like this has been resolved, so I think that's fine. Let me go ahead and approve and run, just to check to make sure it's working. And now we're going to go to command line instructions, and pull this down. Things are going fine. Happy to hear that. I mean, it's been so long since I've seen you on stream. What was the last thing? I know you were working on the Vulkan stuff, and I don't remember all the details with that. I just remember that you were working on that, and that's the last I remember hearing. What's been going on with that project? Is it still going on? Oh, no. You were also working on the language, the snark, right? Wasn't it called snark, or am I wrong? Okay, let's go ahead and check the Python code over here. So we're going to cd back a couple of directories, cd into approximate counting, cd into code, ls here, cd python, ls, and now we're going to run python, what is it? Approximate counting.py. Okay, I mean, all the tests pass. I'm interested in the fact that we seem to not have all the languages available here. It looks like we only have C++ and Julia, but we have C code available. Let me check that in just a second. Correct, nothing much has been going on with the language, but Engine Vulkan is going strong. Oh, super happy to hear that. Okay, so everything seems to pass. Let's go to the code over here, see if there's anything that, could be fixed up. I think it's all fine. Increment, sure. Sure, approximate count, test approximate count. I guess it's fine. And I think Berkowitz said the code looks fine as well. Let me check. Okay, so I believe this has been resolved, so let's go ahead and resolve this conversation. It seems like this has been fixed, so I will resolve the conversation. All right. Resolve conversation. Oh, did that? Okay, fine, fair enough. All right, let's go to files changed. Take a look at the code here. Increment. We have def of vn of va. Sure, this is what I did with the Julia code. We have increment. We have approximate count. We have test approximate count. Sure. Okay. Let me compare it to the Julia code really quick. So we're going to go over here, cd back a directory, cd into Julia. Now let's hear vi approximate count.jl. I think it's kind of the same thing. Approximate count, test approximate count. It's literally the same thing. So I'm going to review the changes, say that to me the code looks great. Code looks good. Happy to merge it in. All right, approve, submit review. Okay, let me take a look. The change requested should be fine. Let me check the review really quick. See review. I think it's been resolved. The checks are successful. So let's just go ahead and squash and merge. Squash and merge. Let's do it. All right. Berkowitz might be upset about that one, but that's okay. Okay, so the last thing I need to do before continuing from here is I actually want to check the C code really quick. cd backer directory into C, git checkout, master, git pull upstream master. All right, and now we're gonna do, what am I doing? I just have an a.out file in the C. What? What? Let me go take a look at the algorithm archive. And let's go to contents, approximate counting, code. Oh, why do I have a C directory? What is this? What? Okay, it's just local. I don't know where it came from. Maybe I was testing someone's C version of the code. Let's go to pull requests here. I guess maybe. I don't actually know where the C directory came from. Oh, it must be this one. Okay, cool. So we're just going to start working our way down all the pull requests as we get them in. But now we got 2 pull requests merged today. Actually 3 if you can count the one that I created. So I think that's a good place to kind of wrap things up for the algorithm archive development and move on to other things. So let's go here. I'm going to CD over here. We're going to do Control C. And yeah, I'm relatively happy with how this is going. So let me go check over here really quick. Good to go. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, anything like that. And I'll totally address it as soon as I see it in chat. Right, so I do want to mention one thing. Mystery of the Ghost C implementation and the a.out file. I don't know where it came from. I'm pretty sure I must have just compiled the other guy's C code. And I just left the a.out file in there or something like that. I'm wondering if this is going to cause merge conflicts or not. I don't think it will, because the other guy did change the text of the file a little bit, but it should all be fine. I think it's easily mergeable. Okay, what is this? What is that? Oh, where'd this guy come from? Okay. You know, sometimes I'm just like randomly going through my computer and there's just terminals appearing out of nowhere. It's fine. It's not a bad thing. It's just that sometimes I have too many terminals and I don't know where they've all come from. Okay. So let's talk about what I want to do next. So there's actually a few things that we could do. And I'm going to kind of leave this up to you guys as to what you guys want to see. Let me get a little bit of water. So I have a super dumb, nitpicky problem with tmux that I know is my own, like it's just totally within my own mind, and it doesn't matter for anyone else. It only matters for me. But the problem is when you open a terminal, the width of the terminal is always 80. Like, you know, it's 80 by 24. That's just what the size of the terminal is. And with tmux, it changes the width of the terminal, and it just, I don't know, it frustrates me. Like, that's it. That's the only reason. I have no other qualms against tmux. It's just, I'm super like weird about how I want my terminals to look and how I want them to be presented on screen. And so that's why I do multiple terminals instead of like one tmux session. Tmux is technically better in almost every single way. I just don't use it. There's so many things like that that are technically better in almost every way that I just don't use. I'm still using VI for Pete's sake. And, I mean, it's even an emote. I mean, look, did that emote work, by the way? Do I need to change the name of all the emotes? Let me see. It did. I do need to change the name of all the emotes, but the problem is that the new emote name is Leosl, right? Because it's 6 characters, and then like VI or something, right? Which isn't great. So I was thinking, I wasn't sure if I want to do Leios and then add an E. So it's Leios Lecow? I don't know. The problem is that Leios Labs is slightly too big. Barrett G1, I feel like, I'm going to be honest here. Thank you so much for the subscription, by the way. Really appreciate it. Let me go ahead and put 2 Simul Cows in chat. Simul Cow 1, Simul Cow 2. But I feel like, for some reason, I thought your name was Barrett 1G, not Barrett G1. Am I an idiot? Am I completely misremembering this? Anyway, thank you so much for the subscription. I really appreciate all the support. I just wanted to say, for some reason, I thought your name was like the opposite one. Okay, so what are we going to do next? Also, I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you on stream. It's always been G1. What? My mind is playing. This is like the Berenstein Bears type of thing, you know, where people think that, you know, like the name of this bear group. I'm rambling too much, and I'm so sorry about that. But the point is, I thought something, and I was sure about something, and then someone tells me something different, and clearly I was wrong. You know, like it happens all the time. But yeah, welcome back. I know I don't know how long it's been, but I feel like it's been years. I know it hasn't been years. I just feel like it has been. You know, the past few weeks in particular has been just, you know, it's been rough for me. So it's just been anything like from 3 weeks ago feels like it's been like a year ago. So, okay. So what are we doing next? There's a bunch of things that we could do. And let me just go ahead and go over here and go to the algorithm archivists and go to the Leios Labs algorithm archivists and Leios Labs project in here. Okay. So this is where we need to talk about YouTube theory. Not exactly. I finally got a job in tech, apprentice software engineer with American Express. That sounds super cool and super professional, by the way. Like, good job. Keep up the good work. So when I was doing the Summer of Math exposition, let's talk about this. When I was doing the Summer of Math exposition, people got kind of fed up with the way that I talk to people. They were like, oh, you're too happy all the time. I'm like, you don't know me deep down inside. I'm not actually that happy. But I was just like, guys, you did a great job. Keep up the good work. Like, unfortunately, you didn't make it, but, you're still doing a good job. And people were like, that's super condescending. And I'm like, I could see that as being condescending. I get that, but I don't know how else to do it. Like, how else are you supposed to talk to people? I have no idea. So, had Trello inside of it. Yeah. The GitHub projects have actually been, I used them a lot back when I did work with Klima. I like them a lot. Okay, so I've got a couple projects in here that I'm working on, right? So we've got it doesn't seem condescending for me, right? I wonder if it's like an American versus Europe thing. I'm not really sure. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just digging too much into it. But the problem with the Summer of Math exposition feedback is that pretty much all of the negative, first of all, people were incredibly happy with the Summer of Math exposition, right? Like, fine. People were happy about it, but they were happy about it because it was Grant, and they were happy about it because it was 3 Blue, 1 Brown. They weren't happy about certain things. And for those of you guys who may not have been aware of the Summer of Math exposition, it was a contest that 3 Blue, 1 Brown held this summer in order to get more people involved in making math content. So the idea was that, at the end of the summer, September 1st, so kind of the end of the summer, everyone would submit their, whatever they made this summer in terms of math exposition, whether that be YouTube videos, blog posts, video games, academic articles, whatever. And we'd basically judge them to find a top 5. And then we'd give the top 5 $1,000 each and some golden pie, plushies or whatever they're called. Now, here's the thing. We had 1,300 entries, which was way too many to do any type of like manual review. So what we did is we had all of those entries peer review each other. So we created or worked on a peer review system that was known as Gavel. And it worked with CrowdBT underneath. There was like a whole bunch of things to it to make sure that it was, algorithmically going to work for what we needed. And we did two stages of judging. The first was a peer review phase where people judge everyone else's work. And the second was a manual review phase where the top 10% were judged specifically by me and Grant. And everyone else. We had like a group of 5 people in the end. So a lot of people were very unhappy with the peer review stage because they wanted Grant to look at their work. And I got that. I understand that. So all of the negative feedback came specifically to the peer review, which is the part that I spent the most time on. I spent weeks of spending 100 hours a week working on this thing. Like it was so much work to get this done. And I was the only one working on it. It was just so frustrating. And all of the negative feedback that I've read in the past few days was specifically towards me. And because I was the only one working on it, I kind of take some of the stuff to heart, people are like, you could have maybe said this a bit cleaner, or you could have described this better, or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I get that. I could have. But the one that hit me, the one that really felt personal, was the guy who was like, how dare you say that we did a good job when we didn't even make it in the top 100? You're just, placating us and being like, I don't remember the exact words, but they specifically said I was being condescending, and I was like, yeah, I guess I could see that, but I don't know. I just don't know how to fix it. But that was the one that hit me. It's like, that one hit me hard. Okay. So, I guess I can share this project with you guys. You guys should be able to see it. It should be publicly available. But these are the projects that I kind of have on the radar for Leios Labs in the next few months. I have the world's fastest fractal generator using iterated function systems. I have a 4D galaxy simulation, a 4-dimensional galaxy simulation. I have this thing that I call enhanced fractal compression for HD video, which relies on the world's fastest fractal generator. I have the next step, which is physics simulations without data. So I'll talk about what all these are. Right now, I'll just go through them here. I have knot theory preconditioner via superfluid simulations. So the idea would be to basically do some knot theory algorithms. Like basically there's this problem known as the I'm rambling. Well, let me get through the headings and then I'll talk about each one in particular. So here are the headings of what I have planned. World's fastest fractal generator, 4D galaxy simulation, enhanced fractal compression for HD video, physics simulations without data, knot theory preconditioner for superfluid simulations, or with superfluid simulations, GPUE development, which is the GPU-based graphics, GPU-based gross PDSky equation solvers for superfluids, and then miscellaneous things, which would be like machine learning in the algorithm archive for like having an AI swim coach, programming language based on heartbeat, this type of stuff. Okay, so let's talk about each one in specifics. So we talked about this before, but let me go ahead and bring it up. IFS, I'm sure it'll come up. It does not. So algorithm archive. We've done a lot of discussions in the past about iterated function systems. These are function systems that when you iterate over them, they create certain patterns. So one particular function pattern, when you iterate through it, will create something known as the Sierpinski triangle, which is a set of triangles inside of triangles inside of triangles, right? So here is just a quick visualization of that happening on the algorithm archive. I'll go ahead and give you guys the link here to that. The idea is that you have a set of functions. In this case, a set of functions relatively easy. It is just here. F1 is p plus a over 2. So it takes whatever location you're at, p, it adds a to it and divides by 2, effectively bringing you halfway towards a. Function 2 brings you halfway towards b, and function 3 brings you halfway towards c. The idea here is that, you know, if you combine all these functions into one large operator known as the Hutchinson operator down here, and then you go through this set of functions, again, you're going to create the Sierpinski triangle, because a triangle is a shape known as the attractor for this function system. So any point in space will be attracted to the Sierpinski triangle, right? This is super hand wavy and kind of it's not exactly clear the way that I'm describing it, but the point is, if you start with a random point and you randomly pick between any of the three functions, and you have it move, and then you randomly choose a new function and have it move, and randomly choose another function and have it move again and again and again, you're eventually going to create the Sierpinski triangle. And I think I have that animation down here. So there's a Sierpinski triangle behind, and here's like random points. And eventually you see that these random points, after choosing random functions, land kind of on the triangle. Like right here, it's on the triangle. And from there, any other function choice, because again, the Sierpinski triangle is the attractor to the function system, will inherently be, will bring you back on the triangle. So you can't leave the triangle once you do that. I did a very bad job of describing that. There's also other function systems that we talked about, like the Barnsley Fern, which is composed of 4 different functions. One that creates a stem, another one that will kind of move you up and a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, another one that will create kind of like a rotation to the left, and another that creates kind of a rotation to the right. And when you put them all together, you end up creating this Barnsley Fern structure. And by manipulating the functions, you can create like all these different patterns, like you can pull the leaves off and stuff like this. The point is that this is kind of a very rich system in which you can create a lot of interesting diagrams and pictures and stuff like that. And one really cool direction to bring that in is actually something called fractal compression. Oh, I misspelled fractal. I put a K in there. But the way fractal compression works is it essentially will create an attractor that is an image. So if your image is a smiley face, right? The idea is that you'll then turn that into a set of functions so that if you put a random point in space and have that move around according to this function system, it will be attracted to a smiley face. So instead of it being attracted to the Sierpinski triangle, it's attracted to a smiley face. So that's the image that you're going to get out from the fractal generation scheme. So this kind of line of logic has, 3 steps in it. The first is creating the world's fastest fractal generator, which I think we can do because we have a radically different way of doing fractal generation that people haven't done before, dealing with breadth first search and stuff like that. Then we have enhanced fractal compression for HD video. The idea here is that, we want to be able to do like an entire video where every single frame is itself a fractal. And I think that's super cool. And then from there, I kind of want to delve into the idea of doing a physics simulation without actually like writing anything to data, not having like a data grid in the background, basically having it so it's like a point cloud in space, and having like each individual point moving around as like an affine function or something like that. So essentially, instead of modulating a grid, you're modulating the equations to recreate the physics that you're working with. And in this way, you can essentially save all of your data as a set of equations instead of saving them as like a data grid or something like that. Another one that I have in here is the 4D galaxy simulation. The idea here is that I just kind of want to play with galaxy simulations a bit. And I had a very stupid question where, like, if you have a 3D galaxy and you have it move around in space a bunch, it creates a 2D disk. So it goes from 3D to 2D, kind of, sort of. So if you have a 4D galaxy, what does it do? Because there's two planes of rotation, right? You have the X, Y, and then ZW planes that it can rotate in. So does it create a double rotating galaxy? I don't really know. So it's something I kind of wanted to look into. And it's a good excuse to look back at the Barnes Hut algorithm and stuff like that. Okay, the other stuff I had here was kind of a bit, I don't know, it's kind of not as interesting in some sense. So, or maybe it's more interesting, I have no idea. So there's this problem in knot theory known as the unknotting problem. Oh my gosh, one second. Where you're given a like kind of complicated tangle, like this one in here, and you're asking yourself, okay, is this actually like a knot? Like, does it wrap around itself and create like any type of knot, or is it actually just a circle, right? Because, for example, this is just a circle. You can unwind the bottom, unwind the top, and then it's very clearly just a circle, right? So this one is very similar. It's actually just a circle. It's just it's kind of complicated and tied up. And so the question is, how do you recognize whether a thing is an unknot, or a thing is a circle, or a thing is actually a complicated knot, right? And, you know, there's algorithms for this, like Hacken's algorithm and stuff like that. But they found recently in a paper, I don't know how long ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, something like that, that if you basically take a superfluid, which is a fluid that flows without viscosity, and you embed a knot into it, and then you change the underlying physics so it works with a different PDE that basically loses energy, the knot will go from this very complicated structure into an unknot. So it'll actually like become the smallest form of the knot that you're looking for. And so the idea here with this particular thing is basically put a very complicated vortex structure. Like, you know, we're talking about like this weird bubble ring thing that makes absolutely no sense into a superfluid, run it, and then identify the knot that comes out. And I think that'd be really cool. Is it physical? No. Is it cool mathematically? I think so, because I think this allows for us to, you know, solve a somewhat long-standing problem in knot theory, which is like the identification of any knot arbitrarily. And the way it works is by, you know, kind of ignoring a lot of the, you know, known, I guess, ideas in knot theory, like, you know, Riedemeister moves and stuff like that. You literally just constrict it to its most ideal form, and then you identify that, which I think is quite cool. GPUE is the stuff that I used to do. So if I go into James Schloss, Google Scholar, sure, here, you know, I have an H index of 3, which is ridiculous. I have such a low H index, and I get that. But anyway, so I have a few papers out, like this one here. Let's just take a look at it, where I generated like weird vortex states in a superfluid. And there's just some stuff that we can do here that could potentially be interesting. So for example, this guy over here, you know, I generated like a vortex pedal state and stuff like that. And I created a bunch of, you know, vortex rings that wrap themselves around the fiber here, wrap themselves around the BEC and stuff like that. So the point is, there are some interesting things that we could do. And yeah, I don't know where it's going to go. So we'll see. Hey, a silent tree, how are you? So the question is, what do we work on today? Now, I'm not really sure. I got to go. I was only popping in on lunch. Yeah, see you around. I should be streaming later. I'm hoping to be streaming for a while today. I've already been streaming for 1 hour and 30 minutes, but you know, I'm trying to kind of increase my stream stamina a bit. So we're going to go for as long as I can. It might mean that I need to kind of take a break on stream, maybe play a game or something. I don't really know. But the point is, I just want today's stream to be a bit longer than it normally is. But yeah, have a wonderful, wonderful day. So deknotting is walking down a convex cone of simpler knots. In some sense. Okay, actually, I don't really know the term deknotting so well. Let me take a look to make sure this isn't actually in the jargon. Deknotting. Okay, 1 second. That was not that was not what I was looking for. Deknotting definition, not paper making. Okay, so here's kind of the idea. Welcome to my city. Thanks. It's a nice city. I like it. I'm not in the jargon. Okay, no, perfect. Okay, so the idea here is like if we have a knot that this is known as the unknot, right? So the idea is that it's not knotted, right? So then if we go here, right? This is actually clearly the unknot, right? All you have to do is twist it, right? So the idea is that like you untwist it, it's still clearly a single knot, right? And so what I'd be looking for is a system where if I put this into a box and simulate it, right? So here's our little data box in here, and we simulate this knot with time, it will turn itself into the most ideal form. So for example, if I have a knot that looks like, I'm gonna draw something kind of crazy here. I think that's what I want here, and then here. Does this work? Yeah, okay, something like this. Wait a minute, where does this guy go? This guy goes, we're gonna have this guy go over here. Wait. Right, okay, so what I tried to draw here and may not have done a good job of is if we untwist this one, we can then turn into this guy linked with this guy, is what I was trying to do. Does that make sense? So we have a knot here, and that's one knot, and then here is another knot, is what I was trying to draw. And so the idea here is if we constrict this knot, instead of getting an unknot back, we actually get a Hopf link. This is called a Hopf link, right? Or something slightly more complicated, right? So I'm looking for a system that will simplify this for us. And there's, a couple of different algorithms that will do that. The big one is Hacken's algorithm. But, there's a lot of limitations here. And so the idea is if we don't have to use Hacken's algorithm, but could instead use, a physically based system that would allow for us to just kind of embed the system, run the system for a few time steps, and then come back out, then essentially we solve the problem via time stepping instead of using Hacken's algorithm, right? Now, look, I'm not saying that time stepping will be faster. I'm just saying that this is another way to solve the problem that might work better for larger systems, because time stepping, we know the algorithmic complexity of, depending on which system you're using, but like it's the complexity of like n log n or something. I think for like the split step Fourier method or something. And like if you're using Runge-Kutta, I don't remember what Runge-Kutta is, but the point is we know the complexity of that guy, whereas the complexity of this guy is probably much higher. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but it's a very complicated problem is what I'm trying to say. The problem is all of the papers that I've seen so far, or the papers that I saw so far, essentially only consider this from a physical perspective. Like they're just like, this is just a physics problem. We've converted this mathematical problem into a physics problem. But what I'm interested in, doing is kind of analyzing it versus Hacken's algorithm for benchmarking and stuff like that. Aren't you just implementing a discrete cellular automation by having an overly fine grid? Okay, I see what you're getting at. In some sense, yeah, maybe that's correct. That's interesting. I would have assumed the simulation would always be slower. Well, the problem here is that, okay, so here's the problem. If we go into Hacken's algorithm, this guy's actually like super slow. In fact, I don't know if there is a good implementation here. How do you pronounce Zernal PP? I'm tempted to give it a try. I pronounce it Zernal PP. That's how I pronounce it. I use it all the time. Do I recommend it? Maybe, maybe not. I think it's nice. And as long as your system's fast enough, it's fine. Let's just read this. So regarding Hacken's algorithm, it's not so hard to implement. It's essentially implemented in Regina, though at present you need to type a few lines of Python to glue the bits together. A single big red button is on its way. However, it's hard to run since the algorithm has exponential running time and, depending on how you implement it, exponential memory usage. There are two facts that make Hacken's algorithm easier to implement than many other normal surface decision algorithms. So the point here is that, so this is the point that I'm kind of not being very clear about, and let me try to be more clear here. So Hacken's algorithm on one side, and then time stepping on the other. Right. Okay. So Hacken's algorithm, when we say it runs with O and what did they say? Exponential running time. So we'll say O 2 to the n or something like this, versus time stepping is O of n log n. One second, log n. We're not really comparing apples to apples, because here n, I think, is the number of interactions of crossings. So, for example, if we have this knot here that I just drew, that's one crossing, right? Whereas this guy n is the grid size. So n is equal to grid size, right? So in this case, like, we're not being very clear. But if you have, like, you know, an incredibly crazy simulation, so you have like hundreds of crossings, my question is, like, hundreds of crossings, is the time stepping faster in that case? Like, at what point does the time stepping become faster is my question. That's interesting. I would have, 1 second. The other algorithms do graph search over discrete cellular automation. The problem with your approach is that the simulation time necessary to uncurl is probably exponential in the number of crossings. I would say never. Is probably exponential. Wait. The problem with your approach is that the simulation time necessary to uncurl is probably exponential in the number of crossings. Well, I don't know. See, this is a probably, right? Like, we really don't know for sure. You might be right, but also it depends on how large of a time step you can take here. And like, there's a whole bunch of other questions that, you know, you kind of need to answer to solve this question. The main thing isn't, like, again, I'm not sitting here and pretending, yeah, thanks again for, whoever told me about the leak with Twitch. Also, thank you very much. I forgot who it was, but thank you so much. Right. So the question here isn't so much like, can we beat Hacken's algorithm? Like, that's not exactly what I'm trying to answer here. The question is, can we do the same thing as Hacken's algorithm via time stepping? Right? Like, that's kind of my general question. And I think the answer is yes. And the answer is, well, how much slower are we? You know, how much worse are we? You know, I'm not so interested in having this be like the solution to Hacken's algorithm. Like, it's not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for an interesting, different approach to solving the same question. And so that's kind of where that one's going. Now, look, I'll be honest. Like, if we look at the Leios Lab stuff, this stuff's like kind of way down there. It's like all the way over here. So like, it's kind of not even on the immediate list of things that I was thinking about covering. So, I mean, of course we will cover it. I mean, I want to look into it. But a lot of other things come first, you know. You can, if you stay away from numerical instabilities and try different schemes to increase the energy. Right. Right, so the way that the unknotting works is by actually running in a lossy system, running in a system that, like, actively will try to decrease energy, right? So potentially there's another PDE that we could work with. There's a lot of different things that we could work with to make it, I don't know, just to make it faster or and stuff like that. And this is stuff that, you know, I think is interesting to look into. Is it the most interesting thing to look into? Probably not, but I think it's interesting enough to put it on the list of things that I want to look into in the future. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that one. Okay. Yeah, and so, like, I've got a list of other things that we can work on here as well. Now, I do have some questions as to how we're actually going to get this done. So there's a paper out there that is called, here it is, High Performance Iterative Function Systems. Okay, now here's the problem. In order to okay, let me take a step back really quick. I'm now changing topics to talk about the world's fastest fractal generator. Now, this is kind of, it's a bit clickbaity. It's not going to be like a paper title or anything. It was just something that I wanted to have on the docket of things to talk about. In order to do this, I feel like we do need to benchmark with the current state-of-the-art methods in order to generate iterative function systems as fast as possible, which is via a parallelized version of the chaos game. Now, our approach, or the approach that I wanted to take here, is actually not using the chaos game, is using a different scheme. But the fact is, you need some sort of benchmark, and it makes sense that you benchmark against this guy, high-performance iterative function systems. We use kernel abstractions to implement the iterative function systems. Yes, that's my plan. I definitely want to use kernel abstractions for that. And a few other things as well, but we'll be heavily relying on Julia's infrastructure to do it. Okay, so here's where I'm kind of a bit unsure of what to do. And the reason I'm unsure of what to do is that this guy, high performance iterative function systems, let me just go here to Scholar and look it up. Does technically have a PDF available here. But I believe is under copyright. Isn't it? Or am I wrong? Oh, maybe it was another paper. Oh, maybe we're scot-free. Okay, never mind. Okay. Whew. Oh, I was so worried. So the thing is, if a paper is under copyright, it's gonna be hard for me to show it on stream. And so I'm gonna have to do stuff off of stream. But this one, I think, it might be copyrighted by the journal, which is Elsevier. But the fact that it's available on a different... Any paper is under copyright. You're right. So it is copyright here and Vinity Corporation, right? All rights reserved. That is correct. But because it's available... Because it's also available in an open access form, I think it's okay for me to show it on stream. This is where I'm getting kind of like iffy, when it comes to paperwork or like copyright infringement and stuff like that. Like, one of the reasons I never really did like a long research stream is because, you're going to end up looking at papers, and looking at papers on stream is copyright infringement. But look at the terms of the open access thing. Yeah, I should probably do that. Kit.edu. What is KIT? KIT.edu. What is this? Kit Science Week. Intranet, sitemap. I don't know. But okay, the general assumption is that most universities, when they have an open access, like when they're like, this paper must be open access. Okay, let me see if I can find this. What is KIT? Oh, that is a German name, and I have no idea. Dang it, English. I'll look for around. English. Let's go to KIT mission. If you can open a paper, then it shouldn't be copyright. No. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, if the paper is available freely online via an open access form, then I think it's fine to show on stream. I think. Time to consult the German legal code. Oh, thank you so much. Let's see what they have. So let's just Google this and then open access. So like, for example, in OIST, when they had open access policies, open access archive, I'm just Googling it. Research and publication funds. Oh, here? Kit open is probably what I'm looking for. Support through Kit publication funds. Funding requirements, information on specific publishers. To support Kit authors financially, several institutional memberships by whatever have been established. Here you can find further information. What if you stop and start the stream, then do the same after you finish showing it? Then, if it infringes copyright, you only have one video to delete. That might be it. But also, like, if I put it up on YouTube, I can just remove that part of the clip. The thing is, this is something that, like, when people talk about copyright infringement, they usually talk about like music or videos or things like that. And you see so many people, like reaction streamers and stuff like that, putting this under fair use. So I feel like it's fine. As long as I can find the article freely available somewhere that's not Sci-Hub, somewhere else, like Google Scholar or something like that, then there must be some open access policy that allows for us to have it publicly available, right? And assuming that it is publicly available, then my assumption is that at the very worst, I can make some sort of claim towards like fair use of the work and stuff like that. I mean, no one's going to bring me to court on this. Like, it's not like I'm, but at the same time, I'm quite, I'm trying to dot all my I's and cross all my T's, if you know what I mean. It's fine. Otherwise, it wouldn't be DMC8. It would be DMC8 already. Right. But this is one of those things that, we could look back and then eventually, when, researching on stream becomes like the next new thing and everyone's doing it, then they'll be like, oh, actually, there's some huge copyright issues. It's like playing games on stream. Technically, every single person that's playing a video game on stream, fair use doesn't exist like that in Germany. That is fair. That is a fair point. Okay, let's see if we can find something. Research and publishing. Do not hesitate to contact Kit Publication Fund should you have any further questions in case the article processing charge amount to more than €2,000. Okay. Okay, let me just Google open access. Let's see what we can find here. Use an open access content. And let's just see what IOP says. I'm just going to look at a bunch of journals and see what they have to say. There are different types of Creative Commons open access licenses. Obviously, if it's in Creative Commons, it's fine. I'm not asking things that are Creative Commons. I'm asking, what am I asking? Let me look at the OIST IR and see what we had at OIST. And see what we have here. Frequently asked questions, operational guidelines, rules related to... So, okay, for the record, for those who don't know what I'm doing right now, I'm looking at the institutional repository that we had available at OIST, which basically made it so every paper that we published at OIST would also be available in the institutional repository for other people to look at. It should just be high performance iterated function systems. Where is it? Here it is. This guy. You don't have to call them in German. It's totally fine. Please don't go that far. This is the article name right here. But I'm just trying to... I think we're going to be able to find it online. So you don't have to worry about calling them. It's totally fine. That's way too much effort. Can I give you this? With this has everything that you need. Okay. Let's see. What do we have here? Open access. So I feel kind of bad, but if you wanted to, you could ask about it and see what they have to say. Okay, so does the OIST open access policy require Creative Commons license on each academic article? No, the OIST open access policy does not require a Creative Commons license on each academic article. But when you publish an article, you can choose to make it open access by having a Creative Commons license. Many publishers provide authors with the choice as a part of article processing charge. Okay, my authors won't allow it to be open access. Okay. Sure. What is open access? It doesn't really give me the answer I want. So basically, they're relicensing the work under open access. That doesn't help me. This isn't what I was looking for. Okay, that's not helpful at all. Okay, I was hoping to get some more information there. So let me take a look at maybe open access. Institutional repositories. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I realize this is super engaging. Stream content, like looking up copyright law, but I think it's super important. So I just need to make sure. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, my general assumption, I don't know if this is a good way to do it or not. I feel like So the thing is, like, a lot of times when people talk about fair use, they're talking about like fair use for a YouTube video or something, like a reaction to a YouTube video, which is remarkably different than like a reaction to academic content or something, you know? So I don't know. I'm actually at a loss here. I had thought coming into the stream that I'd just read papers and it'd be fine. Like I could just pull a paper up and talk about it. But I'm actually kind of leaning against that now, and I need to think about it. So if a paper is available via open access, what can we do? Okay, I guess we need to look at the KIT library here. Research and publishing, PDF invoices should be fine. Oh, sorry for the yawn. Applying for support, information on specific publishers. Elsevier is what I'm looking for. Obviously Elsevier is like the worst for publications. Let's do Elsevier. Copyright. Oh, but this one was actually by NVIDIA. Should I just contact NVIDIA and be like, hey, can I use this? Maybe that's what I should do. Just be like, yo, you know, I want to use this particular thing. Get rights and content. What do we have here? CCC rights link. Book, chapter. I would like to purchase this content. Reuse in a book. Reuse in a journal magazine. Reuse in presentation slide kit poster. Reuse in promotional materials. Training, thesis, course pack, classroom materials, maybe? CD-ROM, DVD. News media. Am I news media? Is that what I am? Make photocopies, reuse in conference proceedings, reuse in a government report, post on a website, reuse in broadcast media, maybe broadcast media. Of course. Yeah, okay. So this is just how it's going to be. Okay, yeah, let's do, you say presentation? Let's see. The problem is people do technically subscribe to this stream, right? Which means I am technically making money off of this stream, which means, okay, let's try presentation. I am an commercial company. I would like to use excerpt, video, cover image, excerpt. My format is electronic. An excerpt is less than 500 words of content. Nope, that's not right. Full chapter. Number of copies. 1? What am I doing? Electronic, make a selection. I'm the author of this. No. I will be translating. No. Quick price. Not available. Oh no. Okay, so we know then that getting it from Elsevier is bad. I knew that. I knew Elsevier wouldn't allow this. All right, let me try one other thing. If I try a broadcast media and I do the same thing, we'll see what we can find. So make a selection. We'll say commercial for profit. I mean, you know, special requests or requirements. I don't have any. Full chapter. Number of copies. I don't have any. 0. I mean, 1, I guess. No. Check quick price. Not available, of course. Yep. Okay, so Elsevier hates this, and I knew Elsevier would hate this because Elsevier is one of those journals that, you know, I said this. We're going to run into copyright issues. I knew I was going to run into copyright issues. But the fact that it's freely available on another website makes me really feel like I can use it. I'm going to be right back. Give me 2 minutes. Sorry about that, guys. get back. Give me 1 second. Let me go over here, and I think I'm back. Yes, hello. Hello, wonderful people of the internet. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. Okay, this is a bit of a nightmare. It never occurred to me. It never occurred to me that people have to navigate this stuff since I just use Sci-Hub. Right, so this is the problem. The problem is that if I'm honest, I will just use any means necessary when I'm at home to find a paper. And that's totally fine, right? However, if I'm writing a paper and I'm using the resources of another paper in that paper, then obviously I need to go through the proper usage rights. So let me just kind of talk really quick. So journal, new page before. Right, so here's my question. So my first question is, if the paper is freely available online, so as in I can find it outside of a, I guess I'm just going to do it here. Let me just, 1 second. Here's my kind of naive question. So 1, if I can find the paper online, can I show it on stream? That's my number 1 question. My assumption is 2, if I cannot find the paper freely online, I definitely cannot show it on stream. Right. So obviously open access is fine. Like if it's under a Creative Commons license, we're probably golden, unless it's Creative Commons non-commercial, in which case might have issues, right? So that is one thing that we have to consider. Creative Commons non-commercial might not be allowed. Now, can I show the paper online? Oh, what did they say? Did they say we could use it? I'm actually, thank you so much for calling, by the way. I'm incredibly excited. Talk with the librarian, and what did they say? Let me get some water. I'm like on the edge of my seat. I'm super interested in this. I don't know why copyright law just like makes my heart beat. You know, I'm super excited about it. Let's see. My assumption is whatever we get from KIT is probably valid for most other, like European style, you know, institutional archives and stuff. It's a dumb assumption, but you know, it's something that I'm kind of considering. So on this note, right, so the other thing we have to consider is 3 CCNC is something that we have to consider. So it's Creative Commons non-commercial. They said this is hosted on a faculty website by the original author, and they don't know of any CC license. Okay, so in that case, we cannot show it online. I'm unwilling to show it on stream if it is not under CC. Specifically CC by. If it's under CC non-commercial, then, you know, might have issues. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about. I'm sorry, look, no one's going to call me out on it. If I show a paper on stream, yeah, given 2011 CC license is also unlikely. Right. I'm going to be 100% honest here in saying that I'm going to read this paper on my own. And then I'm going to come back to stream and we're going to talk about what we found in the paper, but I will not show the paper itself here. Yeah, we can, I could do that, but you know, the fact is, you know, I read like 2 or 3 papers a day, usually. Honestly, if I have my own way, I read like 10 papers a day. Like I just love reading papers. So, you know, like having to contact the author every single time you want to read a paper is just not feasible, right? And this is another reason why doing research on stream has been rather difficult, right? Okay, so good news is I have actually read the paper on the side. Bad news is this means I'm going to have to basically like write freehand notes of what the paper said to do, and implement that on stream instead of doing it like just directly from the paper. So that means I'm just going to have to kind of like, you know, not show that, and that's totally fine. Okay, I've got a few other questions before continuing here dealing with copyright. The next thing is, what are we actually able to do with non-commercial licenses? So even if it's under CC, if it's under CC non-commercial, well, I'm still not able to use it, right? Because technically, and this is something I'm actually not sure if I want to get rid of or not, but technically we do have subscribers here on Twitch. And look, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that people are subscribing on Twitch, and that they're donating and all this kind of stuff. Like I'm really happy for that support. But because of that, I don't think I'm able to use anything that's CC by NC. I think I'm going to have to show on stream just CC and CC by, but I don't think we can show CC NC. So non-commercial licenses are not allowed. So I want to check to see if the archive is a non-commercial license. I want to check the archive license, actually. I'm just going to delete a bunch of tabs, and let's see what we have next. So archive licensing, and see what we have. License information. Archive is a repository for scholarly material, and perpetual access is necessary to maintain the scholarly record. As such, Archive keeps a permanent record of every submission and a replacement announced. Archive does not ask that copyright be transferred. However, we require sufficient rights to allow us to distribute submitted articles in perpetuity. In order to submit an article to the archive, the submitter must either grant the archive a non-exclusive and irrevocable license to distribute the article, let's check that one out, or certify that the work is available under one of the following licenses. Okay, so CC by NC is technically allowed. I wonder how 3-minute papers does it. Oh, wait, there's a 3-minute papers? I thought there was only 2-minute papers. Oh, I've never heard of 3-minute paper. But what about, I know 2-minute papers. Yeah, 2-minute paper is super cool. But actually in their videos, and I'm going to play a video, but I'm not going to, shh. Oh, they just show it. Oh, well, that's because it's an archive paper, right? So archive papers are totally allowed. Unless, let me check this guy. I grant archive perpetual non-exclusive license to distribute the article. I certify that I have the right to grant this license. I certify that submissions cannot be completely removed once accepted. Okay, let's take a look at their rights and see what they have here. Oh, this is it. Okay. What is their actual license? The video usually longer than 2 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if they contact the authors. That's probably true, right? Yeah, the nature of doing research on stream means that, quite frankly, like, I mean, I can't just contact an author every time. I mean, there's so many papers that I want to read and get through, right? Like, anyway, we're gonna solve this problem, right? This is kind of the first step at figuring out how to do this, and I'm glad we have people here to help me out, because honestly, this is a nightmare. It's one of those things. I actually quite like looking at this stuff. I'm very, very persnickety about, you know, copyright and stuff. So I'm very careful, or I try to be very careful about this kind of stuff. But it's very hard when like everything you want to read is under copyright, right? Okay, so non-exclusive license to distribute. The URL, whatever, is used to record the fact that the submitter granted the following license to archive.org on the submission of the article. I grant that archive.org a perpetual non-exclusive license to distribute this article. I certify that I have the right to grant this license, and I understand that submissions cannot be completely removed once accepted. I understand that archive.org reserves the right to reclassify or reject any submission. Cool? What does that mean? Okay. Authority to submit, publish, licenses granted are irrevocable copyright notices. If you have permission from a publisher to upload content to the archive, provided that you include a specific copyright statement with the paper, the correct place for the statement is the first page of the text of the submission. Copyright notices should not be included in a separate metadata. It will be removed. If you have any additional questions about archive copyright licensing policies, please contact. Okay. Essentially what we need to do is just double check before opening any article that is available via Creative Commons. That's what we need to do. Open source does that to you. Yeah, like I never thought I would be the person that was like so persnickety about licenses. I never thought I'd be the guy that like when people ask about open source stuff or like ask about like how to do licensing or stuff, I'd be like, yep, you got to do it this way, otherwise it's illegal and you're a bad person. But like somehow I've become the person that's just like so like incredibly detailed about licensing that like whenever someone has a question, I'm like, yep, I know the answer. I've done this before. Let's do it. Okay. In the most common case, authors have the right to grant these licenses because they hold copyright in their own work. We currently support three 3 of the Creative Commons licenses. If you wish to use different Creative Commons licenses, then select Archive's non-exclusive license to distribute in the archive submission process and indicate the desired Creative Commons license in the actual article. Okay. What this says to me is that the archive has rights to distribute the paper, which means the archive is technically the if we find it available in the archive, so long as it's not available by the non-commercial tag, we should be fine. Now here is a big thing that I also didn't consider. What about share alike? CC by NC SA. Okay, here's my stupid question. Does that mean everything, if I share something that's share alike accidentally on this stream, I'm unable to turn this stream into a share alike, CC by share alike. That's I'm not able to. Twitch doesn't give me the option, and YouTube doesn't give me the option. I can put it in the description of the videos, which should be kind of crazy. Okay, maybe we just unofficially say that the stream is share alike. Maybe that's what we do. We just say this stream is unofficially, the license of the stream is CC, CC by SA. Maybe we say that's the license of the stream. And if that's the license of the stream, then we're fine. I guess. Whatever. Let's just go with it. Yeah. Okay, good. I think this is where we're gonna leave the licensing argument for now. I'm just gonna check the license before opening it up. I think you are only safe if it says CC by or CC on the paper. But if it says CC SA, I should also be fine. Or CC by SA, I should be fine as long as my stream is technically a CC by SA. Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, we could make it CC by NC SA, right? Yeah. Well, let me see what licenses are supported by the archive. It's CC by, which is fine. CC by SA, which would be fine if our stream is officially by share alike. Or CC by non-commercial SA. So let's go ahead and just go to the archive right now and just see what we can find. Let me go to computer science. We're just going to go to new. And let me see what these archives are what these papers are under. So here we have that, and see what we got. Does it give me a license? Where's the license? Archive doesn't grant you CC license for papers on which it doesn't say CC on the paper itself. But the archive has distribution rights. And it doesn't say... Oh, it doesn't say. That is such a pain. It doesn't say. Right? Because it doesn't... because you're not allowed to add metadata to this. So that means... until I open up the article, I can't know. Yeah, it doesn't transfer. You're right. It doesn't transfer the rights to me. It'd be fine if I was reading it alone, but because I'm not reading it alone, because I'm reading it in front of people, then it's a problem. 1 second. Or you make derivative work, right? So this would technically be derivative work, right? This means that in order to read papers on stream, again, I'm not saying that's necessarily what we're going to do, but I'm just saying that a lot of times when it comes to research, you spend like weeks basically trying to figure out a single paper, and that's a big part of the process, which means that part of the process will unfortunately not be allowed to be shown live, which is not good, because that's a big part of it, you know? But that's just the nature of publishing, you know, that's just how it is nowadays. Neural implicit surfaces for efficient and accurate collisions in physically based simulations. Holy cow, that sounds amazing. Optimal Wenzel-Schwarz waveform relaxation and mixed hybrid finite element method for transport problems. Let me just go here and look for GPU. Let's see what we got here. Ho ho. DADRN, Decoration Aware Deep Retinix Network for low light image enhancement. Neural implicit surfaces. That's the same one. We had a good paper, a nice GPU paper right at the start. You could show the paper blanked out. I could actually. Did the stream drop out for anybody, or was it fine? Let me check really quick. Okay, it was fine. My my laptop lost internet connection. Just show your notes. Right. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, right. So this just means I should read all the papers. I should read all the papers before. It's just getting me. I'm sorry, let me read this out. Permute me softly. Learning soft permutations for graph representations. What? What is this? Anyway, my point is that I can just read the papers before stream, and then, on stream, just do implementations. That's totally fine. What's the consequence? I have seen many streams where they show papers, so it shouldn't be problematic. The only thing they can do is take down the video. It's fine. That's true as well. You can cite the paper without infringing copyright laws. Yes, you can definitely cite the paper. Okay, so the worst thing they can do is take down the paper. That is totally correct. I don't know what I just said. I just said the worst they can do is take down the stream. But technically, actually, I lied. Technically, they can sue me. It's just no one's going to do that. But they can. But they're not going to. But they can. Right? Like, this is the issue. It's the same with video game streaming. Right? Like, if you stream a video game, technically that's not valid. Technically, you are infringing on the copyright of the people who created the game. If you play Spyro or whatever the #1 game is on Twitch, technically it's not fine unless people give you licenses to show that game. So, like, for example, in the Summer of Math exposition, I was quite harsh on this. If someone showed a game or a video, I had to ask, did you ask the publisher for that? And a lot of times the answer was no. Which meant it wasn't allowed for the competition. Is it allowed on YouTube? Yeah, sure, because no one's going to call you out on it. Is it allowed on Twitch? Again, yeah, sure, because no one's going to call you out on it. So I don't know. Show notes and snippets from the paper as citations, images, graphics is probably problematic. Right, I think that's true as well. Okay, so then in that case, I need to rework the streaming schedule a bit. Because it means that I'm probably going to be spending the mornings like reading papers, going through notes, all this kind of stuff. And the afternoons I'll be focusing on implementation details. In some sense, I think that makes the stream better, because this means that the stream is going to be focused specifically on implementation stuff. If you stream music, what Twitch later does is just silence those parts. And is there any case where they have sued Twitch streamers? No, I mean, look, no, there isn't. You're not going to read the entire paper, only an extract. You can cite images just as you can cite text. There's some validity to that. You can cite text, you cannot quote text. You can cite images, you cannot show images, right? There's like, so yeah, you can cite text and you can cite images, but you can't show. Anyway, okay, here's the thing. This whole conversation was around, can I open a paper on Twitch? And I think what I'm learning from this discussion is that the answer should be no. Just do your best not to show papers on Twitch. And there's two reasons for that. The first reason is that, let me just go ahead and erase this, that licensing is a pain. So, like, screw it. Just, you can even show brand logos under citations just if it's presented as a citation. Is that true? Right, because a logo is the citation. Yeah. Anyway, okay, here's the truth, right? Like, let's look at this from another angle. So the question is, can I show papers on stream? The answer is, maybe, right? Probably. If it's CC or CC BY, you can probably show it, which means if it's on the archive, you can probably show it. However, there's a big caveat here, which is, why do I want to show? Why do I want to do this, right? And the answer is, probably. If I want to show a paper on stream, that's probably not content that I want to show on stream anyway. That's probably content that's better for me if I read it offline, because I can, spend my entire time focused on learning this thing It's probably better for everyone else as well, because like, what am I going to do? Read the paper aloud? I've done that before, but it's kind of like not ideal. So I think the answer to this conversation, even though I spent 30 minutes on it asking, can we actually do this? I think the answer is I should avoid showing papers on stream. So try no papers. Hey, Lime Dye, how are you? So I'm going to try for no papers. That might not always work, but I'm going to try for no papers. That's not great because the way that you do research is usually bouncing from paper to paper. So I'm going to have to try to do that all off of stream. Works eventually lose their copyright protection and are said to fall into public domain, making them free for everyone to use. It typically takes many years for the work to fall into public domain. It's like 50 years, isn't it? When do copyrights become public domain? In which case, I mean, what do we have here? Type of work: unpublished, anonymous, pseudonymous, unpublished. Never published, never registered works. 70 years after the death of the author, usually. So, yeah. No, I'm definitely. I should definitely discuss this more with lawyers than I should with like Twitch chat and stuff like that. But I just, it's important, I think, to talk about. It can vary a lot in different countries too. If the author includes a graphic which is not made by him but has a non-transferable right to use in the paper, if you cite it, it would be violate the copyright of the creator of the image. Right, but also like there's a difference between reproduction rights and citations, right? Like, let's say I read a paper. So here's my paper, and there's a figure right here, right? If I'm writing a paper, I can't just take this and put it over here. Like I can't do that unless I specifically ask for reproduction rights. Right. And so because this Twitch stream is publicly available, showing an image from a paper is technically not allowed, unless I have specific reproduction rights to do so. I don't know what happened here with this word rights, but my S somehow found its way inside of the T, and I don't know exactly how that happened. If you include a citation, you can violate reproduction rights. There's a cool Tom Scott video showing the line between citation rights and reproduction rights. You aren't reproducing it, i.e. hosting it in a magazine. Okay, yeah, okay, you might be right about that one, because technically it's on a stream, but I am reproducing it in a... I'm always super cautious about this kind of stuff, but I don't know. Copyright. Isn't it reproduction rights if you distribute the whole paper? Well, you need it for each image. You specifically need it for each image in a paper. I know that for a fact because I've had to do it before. Well, I haven't had to do it before, but for theses and stuff, I've seen people that have had to do it before. I've been lucky enough that I can use only my own created images. But for theses and stuff like that, you specifically have to ask. It's like, hey, do I have the right to reuse this image? This type of stuff. So I would find it hard to believe. Yeah. Anyway, here's the crux of the argument is the following. I should not show papers on stream. I should try to do all of that off of stream and then come to stream prepared to basically implement things, which is good. Okay, good. So that, I think, is where this story ends. I'm going to try to do all of the paper reading, all that kind of stuff off the stream, which is great. Copyright law is nonsense when we know Mickey Mouse is still copyrighted. But are you not citing where you got the image, etc.? As long as you show the URL or talk about it? Wait, no. So here's the thing. Even if in here you say this is from one, that's still not okay. That's definitely not okay. Okay, So if you take image A and you bring it, okay, let's just do this again. So we have, this guy has some content A, and you're writing your own paper. So this is made by Bob, and this is made by you. You can't move A over here and just say, I got this from over here. That's not okay. Dame. What you have to do is in order to bring A over here, you have to specifically request access from this guy. It's like, hey, can I do this? Get reproduction rights, and then you can bring it over there. Even if you cite it, still not okay. The only time the citation argument works is like, it really doesn't usually work. But the only time it will work is if it's already in a Creative Commons license. So if this is CC, CC by SA, whatever, then you can do that. But otherwise you need reproduction rights because CC automatically gives you reproduction rights. Oh, copyright. Okay, so let's do journal, new page before. I'm so sorry, guys. This has been a long, convoluted conversation. I'm so sorry. But like I said before, I'm super persnickety about this, and I want to make sure we get it right. Like a lot of people have said here on stream, there won't be consequences if we get it wrong. Like, no one's going to call me out for reading a paper on stream. No one's going to do that. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like, you know, you see people all the time showing like New York Times. So New York Times, what am I looking for? Licensing? I'm sure it's under copyright, but you see people all the time showing, you know, New York Times stuff on their stream. Rights, license, and copyright. Get permission to reprint and republish articles, right? So, like, you see people just reading articles and stuff all the time on Twitch. Like, what's the guy's name? Hassan ABI? I just know he's like a political streamer. I don't know much about him. I just know he's a political streamer. Like, doesn't he show, like, you know, articles all the time? Is that not technically copyrighted material that he's showing? I don't know. I just know if you're like a political streamer, surely you show articles and stuff, right? In which case, like, is that not a big copyright infringement problem? The answer is yes, it definitely is. This is copyrighted by the New York Times, but no one's calling him out on it. No one's calling anybody out on this. For the same reason no one calls anyone out for video games, right? I'm Really Important talks about him all the time. Oh, I don't know who I'm Really Important is either. I really should, but I feel like I should. But look, my point with this argument is technically it is illegal. IRI is a political streamer. So, right. So technically it's illegal. Technically it is illegal for me to show this content on stream. So will people call me out on it? No. Technically it's illegal to show video gaming content on stream, but everyone does it anyway. Technically it's illegal to show other YouTube videos on stream, but people do it anyway. No one's going to call me out on it. And if we want to go the route of no one's going to call me out on it, then fine. Let's just show as many articles as we want on stream. It rubs me the wrong way, you know. Calls out Hassan for being a hypocrite and sellout. Fair enough. I don't know Hassan. I don't know. I just knew he was a big political streamer, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up. I really know nothing about him. The only thing I know about him, because they would just argue is derivative work. Right. That's the thing. So everything that I do here, oh, come on, move this back over here. Everything that I do here is derivative work, right? Which means that, you know, for example, if I'm running CC by SA, my stream would also have to be under SA. It's an interesting discussion. Okay, so playing music on stream was and is wrong, but everyone did it for a long time, and now, right, I mean, that's why the music that I'm playing right now is Creative Commons. You know, I only play Creative Commons music on stream. I only do, like, I'm very careful with that. So that's why I get all my music from Josh Woodward, who has, you know, Creative Commons music available, and I use his instrumental. So this is actually where all my music comes from, because otherwise it's illegal, right? It's why I don't show other people on any of my content. And it's why, like, I'm, you know, like, there's just a bunch of things that I do to make sure that I'm not breaking any like laws accidentally, you know? And like people have said before, no one's going to call me out on it. It's totally fine. I can do whatever the heck I want. No one's going to call me out on it. okay, not anything. Like, you know what I mean. Like, I can use any material I want basically on stream as long as it's not like clearly breaking terms of service. But my point is that I don't want to be breaking the law. Like I don't want to be like, having issues with that. I don't know. Anyway, let's just. I don't know. You can't show Marvel movies? Well, right. You can't show any movie, I don't think. I mean, like, the truth is, everyone was really pissed at Nintendo. Right. So a lot of people were really angry at Nintendo because they wouldn't allow streamers or content creators to make content about Nintendo games, right? Like, they would throw a lot of whatever it is, DMCAs around because you're showing Nintendo content, you're showing Nintendo copyright, and everyone would get really angry at Nintendo because they're like, well, how dare you? But it's like, well, no, Nintendo's totally in the right here. It's their copyright. They're the ones who made the game. It's totally their call. In fact, they're legally obligated to uphold the copyright. Like, if they don't call out the copyright, they're actually the ones that are in trouble. So, like, like, I understand that people want to watch, like, Super Smash Brothers or whatever on stream. I get that. But also, like, I kind of understand where Nintendo is coming from here. And I kind of feel like, pretty much every video game developer should be doing the same thing. Now, is that right for internet culture? No. But it's what legally they should be doing, right? Which is also another reason why I've played Guild Wars on stream or something like that, but like I'm always kind of iffy about it. It just feels wrong to me. Oh man. Yeah, it does kind of feel wrong to me to play video games on stream without explicit permission from the developer. But anyway, let's just keep going. All right. You can show Big Buck Bunny from Blender Foundation. Right. So we're just going to watch that over and over again. This stream is just watching that one movie again and again and again, and that's it. I suspect they go down hard on streamers just to, like you say, enforce the copyright, so they can go after people who print T-shirts with Mario on, etc. It's CC 3.0. Actually, I think most of Blender's movies are CC, aren't they? Blender actually makes some decent movies. I'm kind of a big fan of them. I bet if you asked and said you wanted to play the stream online, then they have a license for that. That's actually fair as well. There are a few game companies now who have actually specifically given licenses to streamers as a way to circumvent that rule. Yeah, I knew what you meant. I read it as you wrote, but I knew obviously what you meant. So yeah, that's the other thing. Okay. Anyway, long story short, showing written content on stream is something that I should try to not do. That is what I'm getting from this conversation. I will try my best not to show written content online, knowing full well that people will not call me out on it. I will just do my best not to show the content, right? That's where this conversation will end, I think. Okay, that's it for copyright for today. Okay, so now the next question is, what do we do next? I have one final kind of bookkeeping thing to talk about, and I realize we've been kind of doing bookkeeping for the past 2.5 hours, but hey, that's how it is. Next bookkeeping thing to talk about. Let me go to Twitch. Twitch.tv. I can't spell it. Okay, let me go to browse over here on twitch.tv. Oh, Tim's got 50 viewers? Nice. Browse here. Let's go to, what am I doing with my life? 1 second, I need to think really hard. Yes, software and game development. That's what I want to talk about. Treat it like a watch party. Point us to the URL where it's available on the journal site, and we will open it locally and read along with you. It's like the weirdest form of book club. But that's fair. Okay, I'm going to scroll down a bit. And I'm going to look for specifically, so there's art. I'm going to look specifically for science and tech. Here's talk shows and podcasts. Where are we? This is the last bit of bookkeeping that I want to talk about before continuing here. because Twitch did something a few weeks ago that I'm not fully in support of, and I kind of want to talk about because I'm not sure what to do about it. Okay, let me just look for science and tech because I can't find it. So first, software and game development. Let's go there, and then science and tech. And tech, perfect. Okay, right. So there is now an additional category on Twitch for software and game development. Let me go through Tim's stream really quick. Software and game development. There we are. Perfect. Close that. Okay. Science and tech. I'm sorry. The truth is, like, I have a really hard time of looking at images and, like, I have a hard time looking at thumbnails. I'm so sorry. Okay. So what am I going to say here? I want to say that I don't know where I belong on Twitch right now. So there is a software and game development section on Twitch. The problem with this is the same problem with pretty much every programming community on Twitch that has existed for the past 5-10 years. And that is that every single programming community becomes very biased towards game development as it grows, right? That is to say, software and game development, for the most part, is game development. Like it's not science and tech. It's basically game development, right? Like if we look here, I mean, you know, this guy is Unreal Engine, so that's still game development. I'm looking for a single guy here who's guy or girl, single person here who is not game development. Ludum Dare, coding and chilling, maybe. Right. So then we have robes. But right. So then the other question is science and tech, right? So because I'm going to be moving more towards like a research stream, are you talking about algorithms in the context of doing a game? No. I'm not talking about algorithms in terms of doing a game. I'm talking about, I don't know where I should actually be streaming nowadays. Should I be streaming on just chatting? Because, so on the one hand, I don't really see any growth potential anymore in the science and tech category. And the reason I don't see any really growth potential here anymore is because if you look at my stream, it's here I am. Then you look above me and there is pond, live earthquakes, this guy, fair enough, this guy, ducks, bunnies, kitten cam, keep going under control vector robot. Okay, this is also fair. Barn owl. You see what I'm getting at? Like, I don't know if I necessarily fit with a bunch of bunny rabbits. You know, like if it was science, if it was, you know, but you belong in science and tech anyway, there really should be an animal live feed category. I mean, look, the truth is, if these are actual biological experiments, that's one thing. And I think that's actually super exciting, but I don't think that's actually what these guys are. And so I feel like science and tech is the category I necessarily belong in because I want to be doing research on stream. But it means that I'm kind of alienating myself here. You don't think you fit with bunny rabbits? Oh, I don't know. I would feed you carrots and... I don't know what to say to that one. But carrots are one of my favorite foods, so in some sense, I actually really do like eating carrots. Okay, so, right, so this is my question to you guys. Should I maybe switch? I could also switch to just chatting. Like, that's where Kit Boga is, and, you know, I would argue should be in science and tech, but never was. I don't know. I don't feel it would matter much if you stand out a little in the de facto game dev category. I'd probably go there. Yeah, so the other thing, too, is... Yeah. Well, let me take a look at the software and game development channel. Maybe that's what I do. Like, but the problem is I'm not actually developing any software, right? Like, not really. I'm doing research projects, right? And so you could say what I'm doing is research software, but for the most part, what I'm doing is like writing papers and like, maybe doing video editing or like, you know, things like this. Like, I'm not like, okay, that's my problem. I don't know. Like, I'm not doing software and I'm not doing game development. I'm doing maybe tech and maybe science if you want to kind of stretch it a bit. When doing computer graphics, do game dev, else do science and tech. Maybe, yeah. I was wondering if maybe I should just try just chatting out. That's what I was actually, that maybe was what I was going to get at. Let me check just chatting. I don't like just chatting, because just chatting is just like a, kind of a combination of everything, you know? And it's just such a weird... Can I change the language to English? How do I change the language to English? Anyway, yeah, my problem with just chatting is it's just like everyone's there. The algorithm archive could be considered coding. Yeah, that's true. I think the problem with the bunnies and such is that the thumbnails are completely different from what you do. So how does your stream grab the attention of potential viewers? Yeah, I think the audience that would look at game dev category would be most interested in your stream. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, I just wish there was a research category. And I feel like that should be science and tech. Okay. And I feel like that should be science and tech. But it's not. Okay. Anyway, for today's stream, I'm going to stay on science and tech. We'll have this discussion again later. I think the audience that would look at game dev category, I think what I should be trying to do from here on out is just not worry about Twitch so much and just say Twitch is what Twitch is. It's a way for me to be open and honest about what I do. But it's not where I'm going to try to grow as a content creator. I think what I'm going to try to do is make it so my growth comes from YouTube. And that Twitch, again, is just, it is what it is. I feel like my content does best fit in the science and tech category right now. It is a research project, right? And for that reason, I feel like science and tech is where it belongs. A lot of times I do a lot of chatting. Like, for example, today's stream has been predominantly just chatting. But it's all been chatting about research stuff. So I feel like it still fits best into science and tech. And so that's kind of where I'm gonna sit for now. I'm going to come back to it in a week and we'll have the same discussion again. I'm sure I'm going to be constantly, self-conscious about it. But again, the truth is I'm going to try to make it so my growth comes mainly from YouTube, and Twitch is kind of more of the open aspect of the content that I'm making. Okay, so that's all said. Let's go ahead and start doing some stuff, because today we've done a bunch of different things. We've done algorithm archive development. We've talked about copyright law. We've talked a little bit about Twitch. We talked about how I got scammed by a locksmith, all this kind of stuff. We've had a lot of different discussions, but we haven't actually done any actual research here. So let me go over here to Leios Labs and let's talk about what I want to actually do first. Okay, so there's a bunch of things to do. So on the list for the next video that I want to create, which is the world's fastest fractal generator, we have the possible title of the paper that I want to go with the video is the efficient generation of iterated function systems with parallel approximate tree traversal. That's what I want to do, or what I'm hoping the paper will be titled. Then we have a couple of different things that I want to talk about. One thing that I wrote down here was iterated function systems and quantum Monte Carlo. I don't remember what I was talking about here. So actually, I'm going to do some Googling of quantum Monte Carlo to figure out what I was talking about there. The next thing is I need to do some literature search to see if it's publishable. I've already done the literature search, so this is pretty much over in the left column, but I want to leave it there because there's always more literature search to do. I need to benchmark the world's fastest fractal generator. And then we have to do tree traversal via counting, which is fine. We've already done that before in C, so now we just have to do the same thing in Julia. We have the abstract syntax tree to iterated function system using Impero. Okay, so there's a couple different directions that we can go in here. The first direction is I do actually want to take another look at quantum Monte Carlo. It's been such a long time since I looked at quantum Monte Carlo. I just want to look into it again and see kind of, I just want to look into it again, because for some reason when I was super tired, apparently at 2 o'clock in the morning, I put a note and I said, quantum Monte Carlo is somehow related to iterated function systems. I think I understand how, but I want to look at it one more time. The next thing I want to talk about is iterative function systems. Abstract syntax tree, ASTs, and their relation to iterative function systems. So here's the general idea here. If you look at an equation like x squared plus y, right? This can be split up into a tree known as an expression tree, where you have a plus sign, and then you might have a multiplication sign, and you might have x and x, and then you have y over here. So the idea is you multiply x and x, and then you add y. So you kind of go through this tree in a depth-first fashion. And by going through this tree in a depth-first fashion, you can essentially solve this equation, right? So x squared plus y, that's how you analyze this equation. So what I want to do is create a set of abstract syntax trees for an iterative function system. So for example, f of p is going to be equal to p plus a over 2 is obviously going to give us a tree, which is, let me just do it this way, plus, I think we're going to do a division by 2 and then a p and an a. That's what I'm looking for here. So we do p plus a and then we divide it by 2. So if we have f of p, and we're going to say this is f2 of p, f1 of p is going to be p plus b over 2, and we have f of 3 of p is going to be equal to p plus c over 2. Then in principle, we've got a bunch of these guys all put together into a single operator. So let me go ahead and grab this and show what that tree might look like. Oh, let's try that again. Something like this maybe. Pull this down here. There. Okay. And we're just going to do Control C, V, and then V again. Move this over here. Maybe move this down, and I'm just going to erase A, and A. 1 second, let me try that again. To be A, B, and C. And then these guys are all combined into one giant n-ary operator here, which will be our Hutchinson operator of some sort. The point is, I want to find a way to express this iterative function system as an abstract syntax tree, so it's easily modifiable by Julia and all that kind of stuff. And the reason I want to do that is so that people can essentially, on the fly, write down the equations that they want to solve, and then they're just solved for you. And you don't have to think anything about it. You don't have to write your chaos game. You don't have to write your iterative functions tree solver. You don't have to do any of that. You just write the equations. It's solved for you. And we have some code to do that already. It's called impero.jl. .jl. Yep. And I want to use this code not only for the abstract syntax tree and iterative function system tree solver, sorry, but I also want to use it for the GPUE development with the superfluids and stuff. Okay. Now, I did just recently, for some reason, think that there was a link between quantum Monte Carlo and iterative function systems. I don't remember why, so I'm going to Google quantum Monte Carlo. And we're just going to look at it and see what we can find. Now, I'm positive that no one watching this stream right now remembers the Quantum Monte Carlo streams that we did like super long ago, like 6 years ago now. We did streams on Quantum Monte Carlo. We talked about it. We talked about what it was. And honestly, at the time, I had a very bad understanding of quantum mechanics, and Quantum Monte Carlo was the way in which I understood quantum mechanics. So let's talk about that. Journal, new page before. Let's say we have a wave function, right? So it's psi, and actually, in fact, we're going to call it a wave function density, and we have some sort of probability distribution that looks like this. What does this mean? What this means is that if we were to measure our system, as in we're asking the question, where is our particle in space? And this is a function of x, which is space. Then we don't really have a good explanation of where the particle is, but we have, an answer to it's most likely at this location, right? So this is the location it's most likely at, and this is the location it's the least likely at. Now, the way Quantum Monte Carlo works is it recreates this probability distribution by doing a bunch of measurements. So it runs the simulation once, and it finds a particle here. Then it runs the simulation again, finds a particle here, and then finds another particle here, and then a particle here, and then another one here, and then another one here, and here, and then here, and here. And eventually what happens is you create a histogram that essentially recreates this distribution, right? Because you found a particle at each of these locations, right? And so the idea is that instead of having to, go from the wave function, instead of having a wave function and trying to figure out where your particle is, you have multiple particles to recreate the wave function. And that's the idea of Quantum Monte Carlo. You've basically randomly sampled this wave function again and again and again, and then you find the probability density from there. Is this a Gaussian distribution? This one right here was meant to be Gaussian-like, but in principle, your wave function could be anything. Like it could be like, whoosh, 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 whoosh. Yeah, perfect. In which case, it's most likely to be found here, 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 and here, or something. Does it have to be Gaussian or can it be non-Gaussian? Non-Gaussian is fine. So, not necessarily, but that one looks a bit like it. I just chose Gaussian because it's, a standard starting state to go with, Okay. So what I wanted to do is look up quantum Monte Carlo, because what I think I was getting at here, and I'm not sure, but I think its relation to iterated function systems is the following. So like I showed before, maybe a few minutes ago, we have this function system, which is, I'm just going to draw it again here, oh, can I do LaTeX? Oh, I can do LaTeX. I don't know why I'm laughing like that. I'm so sorry. Please don't leave. Oh, 1 second. What am I doing with my life? Frac of p plus a over 2. Okay. Wow, look at that. I'm so sorry. And then we have f2. F of 2 of p is equal to frac of p plus b over 2, and let me copy it this time here, Control C. Okay. Move this down here. All right, let's pretend they're the same size because I can't. No, yeah, that's fine, whatever. Wow. And p plus c over 2. C over 3, whatever. Okay, perfect. Wow, look at that. Amazing. Let's see, what do we have? Not necessarily, but that one looks a bit like it. Bye. See ya, Freeman. Have a wonderful day. Sorry for bothering you. Do the laugh. Now you have to use Emacs for 1 week. Oh, no. I can just not stream for a week. I haven't streamed for 3 weeks. All right, let me grab these equations, move them over a bit. I'm sorry that F2 is smaller than F1 and F3. You're just going to have to live with that. Here, grab these, move these over, move that over here. Okay, so this set of function systems, when plotted, will create a Sierpinski triangle. So let me just draw that now. Ooh, I can create dotted lines. Look at that. It's amazing. Wow. I can also do dash dotted. What? Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm so excited about that. All right, serious. Be serious about this. Okay, so we're going to draw a line. We're in here. Just dash dotted. Just go back to stand. Okay, so we draw a line. Oh, geez, you tried again. Here we have a line. We have another line, and then we have another line. And this will be, geez, A, B, and C. And so what this function system will do is it will create a Sierpinski triangle. So there's a triangle of triangles here. Let's go in further, just to kind of draw the shape here and here. Okay, so obviously there's further triangles on the inside. Yep, perfect. This is the obvious, the best Sierpinski triangle anyone's ever seen, like clearly. Okay, perfect. Hey, Warrior Giggles, how are you? Marion, how are you? Have you just updated Zernal after being on a stable for a decade? Maybe? I have no idea. Maybe I updated it. I have no idea what happened. I just ran Pac-Man SYU like I always do. Middle points. You mean in here? So there are no points in the middle, if that's what you're saying. So what this function system will do is it will create the Sierpinski triangle. Okay, so this is where I thought there could be a relation between quantum Monte Carlo. And this is what I want to Google. I want to figure out. I want to learn. This is known as an attractor. Oh, no. Attractor. Right? Because if you have a random point and you choose between a random function, it will eventually move around a bunch until it finds itself on the triangle, in which case every further movement of that point with this function system will be on the triangle. Essentially, every point, as long as it's iterating through this function system, sorry, let me repeat that. Every point, as long as it's iterating through this function system, will find the triangle, will be attracted to the triangle. Now, what I'm kind of sort of maybe thinking is that you could consider the attractor to be something like a wave function density. Maybe. I think this was my thought. And I need to look into this a bit more, but I think this was my thought. Meaning that if you want to do some sort of measurement, what you can do is you can create a probability distribution of where particles are likely to be and where they're unlikely to be. whereas they're most likely to be on the triangle and very unlikely to be somewhere else. And you can use that as a way to measure your error in a iterated function system, because figuring out how far away, like any point, let's say this point here, is from the triangle itself is actually rather difficult, because even though I drew this triangle as a set of lines, it's actually not a set of lines. It's a series of points that are so close to each other it looks like a line. And so because of that, you're trying to find the distance between one point and a distribution of other points. It actually gets quite messy. There was like this 20-page paper that we were looking at not too long ago that kind of, shows the rigorous mathematics of how to exactly determine how far away a single point is, or like a distribution of points is actually from an attractor. It's a mess. It's a huge mess. So if we could find a way to adequately determine the error metric or an error metric for an attractor via some sort of quantum Monte Carlo approach, that'd be ideal. And that's, I think, what I was looking for here. Middle points. I mean, triangle corners are at the middle points of the axes or lines. They are at the middle point. Yeah, they're at the midpoints, right? So this is halfway between this point right here is halfway between A and B. This point's halfway between B and C, and this point's halfway between A and C. In the visualization we did in the algorithm archive, here, let's go to iterative function systems. We actually use that to our advantage by creating 3 new points, D, E, and F, and showing the simulation here of them generating 3 children, and then all 3 of those children generating more and more children to create the serpentine triangle. Let me get some water. Okay. So, yeah, that's where we're at. I just thought of something. Where did the math streamers stream? Oh, yeah, maybe some people haven't seen that before. Let's go here, and let me show you that. Sorry, I just, we did it a while ago, but people might not have seen it before. If you want to read the whole article, feel free to go here. Yeah, I just thought of something. So where does, there was the boring math professor and stuff like that who used to stream on Twitch. I'm sure maybe they still do. Where do they stream nowadays? Is it on Science and Tech? Is it on just chatting? Yeah, where do you go? Anyway, my hope is that, I don't know. Are there non-Science Tech math streamers? Okay, so they're still on Science and Tech. Yeah, obviously they didn't switch to software and game development, right? Right? I don't think they did. Yeah, no way they did, right? I mean, this is always the problem with Twitch, right? I don't mean to. We're gonna go into quantum Monte Carlo in just a second, but the point is, the big problem is the following: if I'm on Twitch and I want to look up, I want to find researchers on Twitch. I want to find people doing math content. I want to find educational content on Twitch, edutainment even, educational content that is fun to watch. Where do I go? And the answer is, I don't really know. And I don't really know how to find that. Because for example, if I go to the tag here, I'm like, education. Oh, hello there, I screwed up. Try that again. Education. I screwed up, let me try that again. Education. You can find educational here. But even then, it's here's the stock guy. He's on just chatting. But are these actually educational streams? Not really, right? Some of them are. Definitely, some of them are. Twitch Leak, probably quite educational. A lot of this is probably quite educational. But what I'm trying to say is that, what if I'm looking for research? Obviously, no tags found, because it's not a tag that's officially, sponsored by, what if I'm looking for programming? Okay, cool. Here's programming. There we go. So we have some educational programming streams. This one is literally just Ask Aquarium, who's gone for the night, and just not even trying. I'm kidding. It's probably doing pretty well. Obviously doing well. 17 viewers, right? Fine. But my point is, if I'm looking for educational content, I don't actually know where to look. I go to browse. Okay, if we just go to the Twitch homepage, obviously we're not going to find it. But here's more shark fishing. Honestly, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds like a science and tech thing, but it's not. I don't know. That's my point. I found some people with using keywords topics like microscope, and found some professor from a lab streaming microorganisms under the microscope. Yeah, see, that's the type of content I want to see, right? It's the type of content I really wish Twitch could feature, you know? But it's just, you know, I can't find it. It's hard to find. Like you said, you can look in certain keywords and stuff like that. But I don't know. My whole point here is that, like, if you're new to Twitch, you don't know where to go, right? So, you know, naturally, I would suggest, or I would think, going to science and tech would be the place to go. But you just kind of have to know that it's somewhere in just chatting, right? Like, and you have to kind of go through all of these other streamers that are kind of like not exactly what you're looking for. And I think that's my biggest problem with Twitch. It's just discoverability is kind of like non-existent, right? Let me see. Open set. I'm rambling. I've been rambling so much. Just forgive me. I haven't streamed for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So, you know, ooh, I'll give him a follow. Okay. Anyway, last rant about Twitch. That's all I wanted to say. It's frustrating because, like, if you know, it's frustrating. Just play multi and armed bandit between 3 channels you consider. Wait, what do you mean? Sorry. And Fractal Science was doing microscope stuff the other day. Right. So the problem, Fractal Science, I think, does it under just chatting, right? Which is kind of the crux of my argument, right? Like, a lot of people actually do try to start their stream under science and tech. Like, a lot of the science and tech streamers, like Leios, for example, you know, did actually do science and tech streams. And that's kind of where their bread and butter was. But then they realized that science and tech isn't going anywhere. So they switched to just chatting. A lot of the other science and tech streamers. Oh, multi-arm. Oh, wait, what do we mean? She's a chemist. Wait, the Fractal Science, her name is Amanda, right? I only know her by her channel name, but she sent me a message the other day. Anyway, the point is that most of the people who start with science and tech end up moving to just chatting. And you don't see people who just stick to science and tech. And the reason for that is because science and tech is a dead category. If you want to grow, you're going to have to grow somewhere else. And so I kind of always wanted to just like build a category up, like just get more people involved, like just start somewhere and be like, hey, this is where we do research on Twitch. It's in the science and tech category. Go there. You'll find some amazing streams. Because I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to say, just go to the programming category on Twitch. You'll find some amazing streams. But then they removed the programming category. And now I don't know what to do. There was a guy, postdoc, I believe. He was talking about geological structure, evolution, and history of the Grand Canyon while walking there. Showed some important caves. It was fun and educational. Oh, sounds super cool. Yeah. But anyway, the point is that's like a perfect science and tech stream. And I wonder, were they streaming under science and tech, or were they streaming under just chatting? Right? Like, that's my question. Yeah, I don't know. Because right now, just chatting is basically just a catch-all for non-gaming content on Twitch, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm being a rambler today. I'm sorry, I'm rambling too much. I should not be rambling this much. But there is some actually really good content here. Like, yeah, I don't actually watch games on Twitch. Except for like occasionally, I think I've seen like I've seen a few streams from gamers on Twitch, right? Like, it's not like I don't watch any streams. Like, I watch some stuff from Guild Wars every now and again, you know. But it's not what I do, you know. Non-gaming, non-bathtub content. Oh, is that what we have a bathtub? If you want, I could do bathtub content. That's totally fine. I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, let's go. Let's just. I'm sorry. Okay, Quantum Monte Carlo. Let's talk about it. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. So there should be the original paper. The original paper. Oh no, which I can't read on stream because of the discussion we just had. Oh no. Oh man. Okay, let's go here. And there, bathtub coding content. Yeah, I'll follow these guys. Let's do it. Follow. Just following a bunch of people. Sounds great. Follow. Let's go. Okay. But I mean, look, the truth is, I've been streaming on Twitch for like 6 years. Like for a long time, I've been streaming on Twitch, and you know, I've never really found my footing here. So part of that's because I haven't been particularly constant, but part of that's just because I don't know. I haven't really figured out a way to make this content engaging to a large group of people. So I don't know. Maybe that the answer is I shouldn't be looking at Twitch as a engagement platform. I should be looking at Twitch as the open way in which I do my streams. And then, you know, use YouTube as the engagement platform or something like that. I also thought about maybe moving the stream to YouTube and just having, you know, daily streams on YouTube, and just doing it all there. And then, you know, having big videos that come out there as well. I don't know. It's just a thought. Clearly more people are following me on YouTube than they are on Twitch. So it'd be there'd be more people there, you know? Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Quantum Monte Carlo, and let's see if we can find some information here. Yeah, because I think there is something to this Quantum Monte Carlo and iterative function systems. Let me see if I can find anything. Quantum Monte Carlo iterated function systems. G. Atomic nuclear for Quantum Monte Carlo. Yeah, I think I did Google this before. It's possible to stream on both simultaneously. Right, so you can multi-stream, but the problem with that is you cannot multi-stream while also partnered or affiliated with Twitch. Twitch requires that when you do a live stream, it is Twitch specific for the first 24 hours, and then you can move it over to YouTube. Or just something like that in the contract. It's why Louis Rossmann, for example, did a simultaneous stream with Twitch and YouTube, but yeah, I really didn't use Twitch that much. Okay. It's possible to stream. Yeah, again, it's one of those like little things that like you only know if you do stream on both platforms, right? I'm not finding much for both Quantum Monte Carlo and iterative function systems, so let me see if I can do Quantum Monte Carlo chaos game, maybe. Chaos game. But Twitch is younger than YouTube. Maybe that's the issue with Twitch. That's actually an interesting point. I mean, I was just thinking, is a problem that Twitch is younger than YouTube, or is the problem that the Twitch audience is younger than YouTube? Let's see. I'm not seeing much for... Oh, I misspelled chaos. Maybe that's why. Monte Carlo methods using chaos and finding clarity. Monte Carlo simulations of oscillations, chaos and patterns. Okay, let's think about how this would work. Not with Quantum Monte Carlo, but with normal Monte Carlo, right? So journal, new page before. So usually what you do for normal Monte Carlo... Let's Google... Let me read the chapter on Quantum Monte Carlo, and then we'll think about it. YouTube was video hosting, and Justin TV was Twitch was just streaming. Yeah. So yeah, way back in the day, Justin TV used to be apparently relatively big. I mean, my professor knew about it, right? So, oh, what is this? This article's use of external links may not follow Wikipedia's policies or guidelines. Please improve this article by removing excessive or inappropriate external links and converting useful links where appropriate into footnote references. Okay. Yeah, I guess maybe I could do that. I don't know. All right, let me read this. Quantum Monte Carlo encompasses a large family of computational methods whose common aim is the study of complex quantum systems. One of the major goals of these approaches is to provide a reliable solution of the quantum many-body problem. The diverse flavors of Quantum Monte Carlo approaches all share the common use of the Monte Carlo method to handle the multidimensional integrals that arise in the different formulations of many-body problems. See, that seems so promising, right? Like we have a multidimensional system, right? Like, you know, if you look at this guy, you know, where are we? We have, in a sense, you could see F1, F2, and F3 as a three-dimensional system. Could you? Maybe. Okay, let's read through it and see if there's actually a better link. Quantum Monte Carlo methods allow for a direct treatment and description of complex many-body effects encoded in the wave function, going beyond mean field theory. In particular, there exist numerically exact and polynomially scaling algorithms to exactly study static properties of boson systems without geometrical frustration. What is geometrical frustration? For fermions, there exists very good approximations for their static properties and numerically exact exponentially scaling quantum Monte Carlo algorithms, but none that are both. Sounds like they're using Monte Carlo for just integration. Right, that's the thing. Right. In some sense, that's what they're doing. I guess my question is, so there was an original paper done by... Who? Who did it? It was like Anderson? Where was the original paper? I probably notated it. Let's go here. CD projects, Simuleos, LS here. CD Quantum Monte Carlo. Here it is. LS here. Anderson. VI Anderson .cpp. Where is the paper? This algorithm may be improved later. A SIP is an imaginary configuration of electrons. Let's look at this guy. How old is this guy? It must be from years ago. Oh man, this was back in the day. So whenever I write C code, I actually write it kind of Fortran-esque in that I define all of the functions up here, and then I define a main function, and then I put all of the actual functions in subroutines below. And the reason I do that is because it makes it easier for you to take some code that's in one file and split it up into multiple files. So if you have if you want to just do a bunch of development, I do it this way so that I can just take all of this top bit and put it into a header file and kind of move it around. It makes development of larger systems a bit easier. So I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that's what I do. So, implement quantum Monte Carlo diffusion. I'm looking for this Anderson paper here. Now look, we just had this discussion about not opening papers on stream. But I'm going to do it anyway. So just, I'm just trying to find the paper title is what I'm trying to find. There we go. Here. Right. Okay. So let's look for Google Scholar. Anderson, 1975, maybe. Perfect. Model for electronic structure and for semiconductors. No, a random walk simulation Schrodinger equation. Must be this one, right? Must be this one. It is, accept all, I guess. Can I just grab the PDF? I think it's this paper. Does it have licensing? It is copyright. So I probably won't show it. But I think this is the paper I was going off of. I'm terrified of a copyright now. I could look at this code and try to figure out what I was doing, or I can look it up later. That might be what I do. Okay, so let's see, what do we have here? But let me just finish reading, see if there's anything else I can glean from the Quantum Monte Carlo here. Oh, actually, maybe there's a bit more here. Quantum Monte Carlo methods made simple. See, here's the thing. I just had all these arguments about copyright, right? Clearly, this article that I'm reading right now is under copyright, right? But I'm reading it anyway. And man, this is the problem. Technically, I think what I'm doing right now is illegal. I'm like 25% sure, which is high for me. But I'm not actually seeing... I'm not seeing any copyright. I don't know what to do. Oh, it's totally fine. Okay. Quantum Monte Carlo simulation. Quantum Monte Carlo. Okay. Yeah, the blog is probably under copyright, right? Okay, so here's probably a good place to... What do I have to do? I need to look up Quantum Monte Carlo. I need to look up... Yeah, let me see. Actually, I do want to delve into this link between Quantum Monte Carlo and iterated function systems. I feel like there should be something, but I can't really find anything right now, which makes me feel like I'm an idiot. I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna look it up off stream so that I don't actually violate any copyright laws. Also, it's just easier for me to look the stuff off stream. So, Real Python, Medium, Tor Science kind of websites are free to read, and you can find Monte Carlo simulations, articles, and example code. Right, but the difference is Monte Carlo versus Quantum Monte Carlo, right? And that's the thing. Like, obviously, Monte Carlo. Like, I mean, I know Monte Carlo methods just fine. It's the specifically Anderson's Quantum Monte Carlo was the one that I was talking about before here, where essentially it's just a bunch of wave function measurements. Yeah, where it's essentially just a bunch of wave function measurements. And I need to remember how that was done. And whether you can just do a bunch of wave function measurements on an iterative function system to begin with. Is that actually something you can do? Like, for example, if we do a chaos game of n particles, where n is high, we'll say n is 1 million, right? 1 million. Wow, insane, crazy. We're going to get essentially a really messy looking Sierpinski triangle, which will basically give you a probability distribution. But the thing is, the probability distribution is the attractor when you have a sufficiently large n. Yeah. So I really need to look this up. I'm going to look it up. I want to figure it out. I'm really interested in it. I'm quite interested in it. Okay, I'm going to look it up now. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to figure it out. We're going to come back tomorrow, and we're going to implement Quantum Monte Carlo iterative function systems. It's going to be great. Just see you then. Let me see if there's anybody live that we want to raid. We can raid Tim or Lana. Let's raid Tim. Let's just go and start the raid on Tim, and let's go. And I'm going to really try to find this link between Quantum Monte Carlo and iterative function systems. I swear there is one. I just don't know where it is. And so I'm going to look for it. Let's go start the raid on Tim. So we're going to do raid Tim, Baudet. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, morning, evening, whatever time it happens to be your time. And I will see you guys around next time for the next episode of Leios Labs, which will be about I don't know. We'll get stuff done. I'm pretty excited for it. See you then. Bye, guys.